Good morning, and I can hear you, yes, and welcome to Sewing Street on this wonderful Sunday morning, December the 27th. It's really weird. Look, where's Christmas gone? It's disappeared off the set. All gone. It's the only time of year, isn't it, this week, when you know the date, but you don't know the day. So you say to everyone, oh, what's Tuesday? Oh, I know that's the 28th. It's really weird because the rest of the year you know the day and not the date, but it's this Twixmas time that you're not really sure. So we are officially in Twixmas and Christmas has disappeared off the set, but we've got some really lovely things on the show today to show you, to get you all started thinking. We've got the bit of time between Christmas and New Year to have a think about new projects. We've got the lovely Cara with us today, and she's doing 3 shows because we've got Yarn Lane, very exciting. And we've got a really good early bird for you. Now, I haven't got any of these, but I really want some because I see them used all the time. I've just been chatting to Cara about them because she's very passionate about them. She loves them. They are called needle grippers. Needle grippers. But, see, there we go. That's what they look like. But they don't just do that. They lock into place to hold, if you want to hold them really still. Now, there's various things. Obviously, you can use them to grip a needle. So say you've got something like, this is quite a thick needle and I want to pull it through. There's a canvas or a PU or a leather or something, and you can't always get hold of it. You just hold the end of the needle and it's got such a tight grip, you can pull it all the way through. Now, how many times have you tried to do that? I did it with my teeth once years ago and I've still got a little chip in them. Or you find a small pair of jewellery pliers, but these are perfect for that. But not only that, they are great for turning through very narrow tubes, because they will absolutely grip the fabric. So you can pull it, and they lock. If it's really tight, they will lock as well. See, so they'll pull on their own. You don't have to have them locked, but on the inside of the blades, they're serrated. They look a bit like a nail file. You know, the serrations that you get in those. So if you want to turn a tube through, absolutely brilliant for that. But also, if you want to stuff small parts, little tubes, or maybe the feet of animals or the fingers of dolls, that sort of thing, you can get hold of the wadding, stuffing, or the toy stuffing, a little bit in your in the pincers, and you can push it in and then it will just release. So these are just a fantastic gadget. So they've been out of stock for quite a while, and they are, gosh, I can never see the price on there. They're £6.99, £2 saving. Yeah, I just can't read that. They need to make it bigger for people like me. So they're £6.99. We've been waiting to get them in stock for a while. They're just one of those tools that are absolutely essential, that when you need them, you really need them. They don't damage the fabric because although they've got serrations, they're not like teeth. They're just like a nail file, so they will pull your needle. And also, if you're using something where you need to put a needle in and you need to just hold the end because maybe it's a bit tight, you've run out of thread and you don't want to put a new bit, you can just hold it and you can use it to guide the needle like that. But for stuffing or turning tubes, there is nothing else that does that job. And they've got a really nice, there's a pointed end, but it's slightly rounded. So if you want to push into corners, instead of using a point turner, you can push them into corners. They're not like scissors that they would break through the fabric. They've got that, they're just they're better than your chopstick or the kebab skewer that I use. So I really must get some of these because I've used them loads of times on air and everyone I speak to raves about them. But now, £6.99 today, then I think I might have to treat myself. Saving £2. So the way we work, if you haven't shopped with us before, the postage is £3.95 per day. Now that's for anything that you buy. So it doesn't matter how much you buy on Sewing Street and Yarn Lane combined. So if you bought something now, you bought something at 11, you check out each time, you buy something at 12, and then maybe at 8 o'clock this evening, you think, oh, hang on, I think I might get that. The postage of £3.95 goes all the way to midnight. It doesn't matter how many times you put things in your basket and check out. The system's very clever, it knows, and you'll only get one postage. So with your £2 saving, really, you've only got £1.95 postage, really, haven't you? So if you want to shop with us, if you go on the website and if you click on Watch Live, underneath Watch Live are all the products listed. It's just an easier way to shop because it just shows you everything if you look on the screen now, there's the Watch Live. And look, if you scroll down, like Kat's doing now, you can see everything that we've got on the show. And it's much simpler because all the stuff that we're featuring is there. You click on add to basket. If it's in the basket, it's not yours, you have to check out. Like in the supermarket, somebody could take something out of your basket. So you do need to check out. But once you've checked out, you can do that as many times as you want in the day and your 1 P&P will still apply. Obviously, if you'd rather not go on the website, you can phone our call centre on 0800 001 4433, or you can download the Sewing Street app and you can shop on there. So there's all sorts of ways to do it. The call centre is a UK call centre. In fact, it's just around the corner from us. Really, really lovely. It's a free phone number and they're ever so helpful. So if you've got any questions about your order or you're not sure of a product, they'll be able to find out the answer for you. They're really lovely. So that's all the ways that you can buy. So we've got all that out of the way. But before we get any further, let's see what's coming up today. So at 8 o'clock, we've got Cara with the Trio Pocketbook Bag. Cara's just come in with the bag. It's beautiful. Honestly, it looks like something you'd buy from a designer shop. It's absolutely stunning. Look, there's a picture of it just coming up. There's the bag. It's PU and beautiful canvas fabric. And the kit comes with all the bits, all the hardware, because that's often the worst part of a bag, isn't it? Because, you know, you've got the fabric maybe, but you can't find the zips, you can't find the D-rings, you can't find the sliders, all of that. Anyway, the whole kit's got that in, and it all comes through a book, which we're going to talk through in a minute. 9 o'clock, we've got space-saving storage, because hopefully for Christmas, everybody bought you sewing supplies, new sewing supplies, and you need to store them. Or, if you're like me, your sewing room's an absolute mess and you really need to get it sorted. So this is the perfect time of year, in this Twixmas time, a little bit of time where you can sort your storage out. So you'll enjoy that. There's a lot of different price points and different sorts of things, from big storage to little storage to really niche storage. So you'll enjoy that. 10 o'clock, Cara will be back with Sashiko panels and threads, always massively popular, because you love Sashiko. We've got various panels and threads and the right needles and scissors and fabric and everything that you need, and books. And Cara's going to show you how to make this beautiful cushion and the coasters, and and explain the whole Sashiko technique. This is a lovely technique. It's very simple, but it's very rhythmic and methodical. It's a lovely technique to do. Perfect for the winter hours, really, when the daylight's all disappeared. You just want to sit in front of the fire with the telly on and do a bit of slow stitching. That's when it's for. 11 o'clock, Workroom Tools, because obviously now we've stored all our stuff, we want to get the right tools for the right job. And we all know how important it is to buy the right tool that you need, because each tool does one slightly different thing to another, and using the right tools is so important. Well, it not only saves time, but it makes you have such much more professional looking makes, which is what we're all about. Then, yay, at 12 o'clock, we've got Yarn Lane. Now, this is the first time ever we're doing looms. I have had so many requests. Obviously, you all love knitting and crochet. I've had loads of requests for knitting looms. Lots and lots of different manufacturers do them, but between Cara and I, we've come up with the ones that we like the best at the moment. So we've got 2 different looms for you today, and Cara's going to show you right from the very beginning, complete beginner's guide, what is a knitting loom and how do you use it. And we've also got yarn that you need to use with it, the perfect yarn for the looms. You can make scarves, like the one that's on, you can see on screen now. You can make scarves, hats, slippers, gloves, all sorts of things with looms. You'll love it. It's a really fascinating show. Anyway, that's coming up. But with this hour, we are doing the Trio Pocket Bag. So the Trio Pocket Bag comes from this lovely book by Mrs. H, Samantha Hussey, called The Complete Bag Making Masterclass. It's the comprehensive guide to modern bag making techniques. Oh, it's a beautiful book. It's only $15.99, but you get all of these bags in there. I was talking to Cara about it just now. She said it's absolutely brilliant. So it's great if you're new to bag making and you need to learn I can sew, I can use my sewing machine, never tried bag making. It starts off with tools and materials, really important, all the different things that you need. It moves into fabric, stabilising, interfacing, absolute crucial point of a bag. You need your bag to have body and weight, but you've got to use the right stabiliser, and it's something that often confuses people. What's the difference between Decaville, foam stabiliser, fusible feet, all explained in there. Zips, threads, machine needles, feet. Then we move into techniques. How do you make a bag? What's top stitching? How do you make a slip pocket? How do you make a zip pocket? How do you make a tech pocket? All these things so that you can personalise your bag. Because the best thing about making your, you know when you buy a bag, there might be the one pocket, but it might not have a zip on it, so everything falls out. Or you don't want a zip, you just want something to chuck your keys in. But although in the book there are lots of patterns for different bags, this shows you how to make your bag yours. So it's got exactly the right number and placement of pockets that you need. All about, I mean, it's really interesting, all the different things about how to make card pockets and slip pockets, elasticated pockets, different sorts of zip pockets. There are hidden tape ones, simple ones, zip dividers. Took all about zips, because zips are a crucial point of a bag, aren't they? Most bags will have a zip somewhere in it. And a lot of people think, oh, I don't understand zips, don't know how to do them. Well, look, honestly, it explains really simply. And Cara's going to be talking about zips today and showing you how to insert the zip. So all of the techniques, everything you need, even the hardware, because that's important. That's what really finishing. If you buy a bag, it's always got different bits of hardware, and that's what gives it that professional. It looks like you've bought it from a little boutique store. I mean, and the hardware isn't terribly expensive, but it's trying to find it and knowing what to do with it. It explains how to put it in and insert it and what it does and how to use it. Bag feet and bases. I mean, really, when you make a bag yourself, you want it to look like that you bought it from a shop, that it's got that professional finish, but you want it to belong to you, so it's got all the zips and pockets in the right places. So that covers all of that. Handles and straps, how to make different sorts of straps. We haven't got to the projects yet, so we're covering all of the different handles, removable straps, rolled handles, piping. Piping's important. That's what gives bags a real professional finish. How to add shaping, box corners, so you give a little bit of depth to it. How to resize a bag, because you might find a bag in this book, you think, I love that, but I really want it a little bit smaller, or I could do with it being masses bigger. How to resize the bag. And it explains, even with the pattern pieces, how to make them bigger and smaller. And then this is the important bit, isn't it? The professional touches. What turns your homemade bag into a professional looking designer bag? There's not masses of difference, but it's just these little techniques that will show you. And it explains in here how to do it. Now we're on to the projects. So there's all different sorts. There's the piped hobo bag. That's lovely. It's a real slouchy bag. Get everything in there. The celebration clutch. That's lovely. That's for just a really posh event, isn't it? Where you just want to hold a little clutch in your hand. The lovely thing about that is you could use the fabric that really matches your outfit. How many times have you tried to find a bag that does to match your outfit? You know, you could just pick a colour from a dress that you've got and make it in a plain, or you could choose a print. That's a really useful bag. The interchange crossbody backpack. It's called that because you can either have it as a strap or you can have it as a backpack. And it uses two different fabrics, got lots of different hardware. That's lovely. You always have a backpack. I find it easier to carry, but it's nice that you can change it between one and the other. The next one, the Darling Day Sling. Get loads in there. It's got notebooks, pen, glasses, headphones, everything in there. But again, you know, remember that these fabrics that are in this bag are just to give you inspiration. You can use whatever you've got. And the good thing about bags is that there's lots of little pieces to them. So you can use fabrics that you already own. If you've only even got little bits, you could use one fabric for the gusset, one for the front pocket, one for the back, one for the lining. So it's actually a really good way of using up smaller strips and pieces of fabrics. The City Tote, you can get your whole laptop in there. And that's using sort of PU and canvas. Then we move on to, gosh, there's a lot of detail in that one. The crisscross shoulder bag. And again, look how it uses all of these different fabrics. But that really looks very boutique, doesn't it? Really neat and smooth and even. In fact, it's called a sleek shoulder bag. It is very, very sleek. And that's got feet on it. It's very important when you're putting it down on the pavement. Then the trio pocketbook. And this is the one that we're doing today. This is a beautiful bag, so I'll show you it now. Look, so this is the bag that's in the book. It's got this beautiful canvas fabric. Look at the hardware for it that are in the kit. You've got these lovely triangular, well, they're supposed to be D-rings, but with toggle clasps. You've even got the rivets that hold the strap, the tabs down. You've got the adjustable slider. Beautiful PU. Got box corners, very, very soft, and it's really, really lovely to stitch with. Fully lined, and in it you've got this one postbox pocket, and then you've got that section there to put things in. Between the two sections is another pocket. You see, if I put my hand in, then you've got another zip section in here, and then in here there are two dividing pockets. So there's so many different compartments. You know, when you go shopping, so you've got that section to put your keys, you can put your wallet in there, you've got this bit to put your cards in, everything is in there, and then you've got that central section that's sort of like a secret section, and that holds the front and the back of the bag. So Cara's going to be showing us the more technical bits to this today, but what a beautiful, and that's this one here. And is that, I think that's the last project in there. There is another one. There's the Explorer carry-on. That's lovely, isn't it? So that's to, well, it says it's weekends away or to take on your flight, because it's got a really deep gusset on it, so you can get quite a lot in it, and it's got handle straps and shoulder straps and loads of pockets that you can actually see from this picture, the sort of scale of it. So for only $15.99, you get all of these projects. Now, normally, if you bought a pattern for a bag, we're talking sort of $7.99 to $9.99 just for a pattern or more. This, you're getting all of these patterns and all the techniques, and, well, as I've shown you, everything you need to know. So it's an absolute bargain. Absolute bargain. So we have got two kits for you today. So this one here, let me move the kit over so you can see it. So in here, you get the PU. Half a metre of this beautifully soft navy PU, and Cara's saying just now how beautiful it is to stitch with. It's not difficult, it doesn't pucker, it just stitches really well. Your needle just slides through it, so that's lovely. That's it. There's a metre of that. Sorry, half a metre of that. Then you've got a metre of the butterflies on coral, which is more than enough to make the whole bag. And it's a really lovely, weighty canvas. Not that sort of really stiff, but it's got you can see it's got quite a lot of smoothness and flexibility to it, although it has got the strength of a canvas. It's not super stiff. You can see how it's got that sort of slight bit of fold and drape to it. So you get a whole metre of that. And isn't that perfect? Now that Christmas is over, we need a little bit of brightness and butterflies in our life. But and that's loads in there. That's 140 centimetre wide, and that's a beautiful fabric. But it really does look, doesn't it? Very boutique. In there as well, you get the slide buckle. You only need one, but we've given you two. You get the triangle rings that are used to attach the strap on. You get two swivel clips, because you need those to attach in bronze. You need those to attach the triangle rings to that. You get the you get one. Is there one in there? Yeah. No, there's two bits. So there's the magnetic clasp that you need for the front. You get the rivets, loads, because you only actually need two for the bag, but you get a whole pack of them. And two concealed zips that you need for making the two zip pockets, one there and one there. So other than the thread and the H640, which is a fusible wadding. We call it H640, but it's a fusible wadding, which just gives it a little bit of structure and softness. You don't have to use that, but it's just one of those sort of professional finishing touches that just gives it a little bit of squishiness. So everything you need other than the thread and the wadding is in this kit. So that's that colourway. I'll just put that behind me. You've also got another colourway, which is the one that Cara's going to be using today. So you get the same PU, but in a lovely dark chocolate brown. Again, half a metre of that. You get a metre of this navy. It's exactly the same as that coral one, but with a navy background. And all of these butterflies and dahlias, roses, little forget-me-nots. Really pretty. But it's very unusual to be able to get a canvas like this that is so pretty, but also it's just exactly right for the bag, but it's very soft as well. Most canvases aren't like that, so it's perfect for this bag. And again, you get the hardware, you get the two alloy triangle rings, you get two swivel clips, alloy, you get two slide buckles, so you only need one, a whole packet of rivets, the magnetic clasp, and the two zips. And all of that, everything you need, only $35.99, and you make that beautiful bag and learn loads at the same time. Now, we've also got, so we've got the special wadding, the H640 wadding that you'll need for the bag. I presume you only need half a metre. Yeah. So you only need, so this is a metre piece, $9.99, but you'll only need half of that for the bag itself. So if you buy this for the bag, you'll have loads left over. But you might have some already, so that's why we haven't, things like this we haven't put in the kit, because you might have it already, but if you haven't, you can buy it. But it's just a really soft wadding that irons on. Fusible wadding. Few other things as well. If you want to buy if you bought the book and you want to make some of the other bags, we've got a few other things. We've got some really lovely, these are faux leather brown handles. They've got the fixings to stitch over the ends of the bag there. We've got the glue pen, which is perfect if you're putting a zip in, rather than sewing the zip in to start with, which makes, because when you're sewing a zip, it's so much easier rather than the tacking. To get a neat professional finish, it's best to tack your zip into place before you sew it. But easier than that is if you use a glue pen, because this dries clear, and it's just so much easier to insert a zip with a glue pen. We've also got another couple of zips. This is my favourite. If I'm making bags or purses, I always like to use a metal zip. It just gives it a lovely finish, particularly if it's a very visible external zip. So we've got the short 18cm metal zip, and then we've got this lovely, these are just two zips that are a bit more specialist that you might find harder. This is a really chunky, this is a number 5 zip. This is a little bit thicker than other ones. Oh, actually no, it's number I think it's a number 3. It's a slightly thicker, doesn't it say on there, than other zips. It's 18 inches, 46 centimetres, but it's a nice chunky zip, so it's ideal if you're making other bags where you've got a zip closure across the top. These are sort of a bit harder to get hold of. We've also got the double-sided basting tape, again, perfect for putting zips in. You can use either the glue pen or this. It just gives you that professional finish, so that you know it's carefully in place, particularly if you're putting a zip in PU where you don't really want to tack it, you don't want to mark the PU, so this is ideal for that. We've got Wonder Clips, which if you're stitching with PU, you don't really want to be pinning it because it will mark it, so these clips are perfect for that. So at $19.99 you get 50 in there, and these are fantastic. I've always got loads of fabric clips because they will clip your fabric, they won't mark it. The best thing with them is that you can clip the fabric from either side. So unlike pins, if you put them in one side and then you want to sew the other, you've got to move them around, but you can clip them and do either side. They're great for using markable fabrics like PU, but they're also really good for if you're constructing things that are a little bit thick. So maybe you're making a storage bag or basket where you've got lots of layers and you can't pin them together. These clips are fantastic. And we've also got this amazing pack of thread, and that's nice because if you're making some bags and you need lots of different colours, what's great about these is they've got these little clips in so that you can thread them. If you've seen the picture, you thread them through the bobbin and into the thread, the spool of thread, and then you know that you've always got the matching bobbin with the thread and it holds it all together. There we go. So let's go on to Cara. Welcome, Cara.
Hello.
Hello. Did you have a nice Christmas?
Lovely. I hope everybody else did as well. Yes, it's over too quickly, isn't it?
It's gone.
I know, but it's lovely to actually just sort of have that time between Christmas and New Year.
It is, isn't it?
So, yeah, time to relax
and
time to sew.
Time to sew. I know, I'm thinking that because I've got a few days off between Christmas and New Year thinking, oh, I'm going to have a whole day. What shall I make? Lovely.
Oh, I know. I mean, I got
it?
loads and loads of sewing bits for Christmas, including a walking foot. I can't
Did
believe
you?
it. Yes. So I actually have a walking foot at home now.
Oh,
so
wow.
that will help me. Although if you don't have a walking foot, you can use your normal sewing machine. And I did to make the bag because obviously I made that before Christmas. But yes, so and some more threads I had and fabrics.
Ooh,
and
nice.
Ooh, so can't wait to get started. I'm sure everybody else is just thinking about all their different sort of ideas and plans.
Well, often you do all these Christmas sewing, you've got all these things to do, you've got to get done by Christmas. And now I'm
know.
thinking, oh, I've done them.
I know.
I've done them. Well, you make something for me now.
I'm actually going to, my sort of idea for the next year is to make more clothes.
Right.
Because I can't get out to the shops and try things on and et cetera, and I love dressmaking, absolutely love dressmaking. So that is my plan. I have some fabric at home and I have some patterns, so I'm going to have a go at that.
Well, I think,
anyway,
I think you always feel like that a bit with New Year coming. Think, well, I'm going to start a new craft.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to perfect one that I've had to go at.
Yeah, or do one that you absolutely love, you know.
Lovely.
So, we'll wait and see.
Wait and see.
I'll let you know.
So bag making today.
Yes, and isn't this an amazing book?
So is this good if you've never made a bag before?
I think it's sort of taking you to the next step. So if you have made sort of a simple tote bag or something like that, it's sort of taking you to the next step.
Okay.
And there's so much information in there. 8 beautiful projects, and I love Mrs. H's projects anyway.
They work, don't they? They just
well,
work.
they look so professional. When I brought that in this morning, I said, oh, do you like my bag that I bought from, you know?
Yeah, it does. It looks amazingly professional. It's beautiful.
Yeah,
You have
really,
made it
really nice.
beautifully.
So if you want to sort of take your bag making to the next level, this book is amazing, and it has so much information, technical information. But then what I love is that you've got the projects that use that technical information. So, so the packs that you've got there are a really good way to take your bag making on to the next level. You know, there are lots of patterns within the book.
Yeah, because I forgot to mention at the end of the book.
Yes.
Are all the patterns.
Yep. Yep.
There they all are. So we got all the way through.
Yeah.
Actually, the most important part are the patterns that are in a little envelope in the back of the book.
So
did you trace yours out?
No, I actually did cut mine out.
Okay.
I suddenly realised that. But there are 3 main pattern pieces for the book. For the bag. It's because it's a trio pocketbook. There are 3 main patterns, and then you have some rectangles to cut out as well.
Okay.
Having
those are the shape pieces.
Yeah, having said all that, you know, there are lots of pieces to cut out, because for each of the actual pattern pieces, you'll need sort of either an interfacing. You can go for a medium interfacing and the H640.
Right. Okay.
So it just gives your fabric a little bit more body. The only thing that I would say is because we're using the PU and the cotton canvas, I would say you don't actually need this, you know, to make that bag.
Right, but if
Although
you're
I
making the bag
used
with
it,
something different, then but you wouldn't really need it.
If you've got a lighter weight fabric, then I think that's quite good. So we have all these pattern pieces, and then there are extra little bits here, and the dotted line actually on all the pattern pieces is what you're going to be cutting your H640 out, your fusible fleece. So those are the pattern pieces. And then she's so good at giving as much information as you need. She tells you exactly what you need for each of the projects. So there are, you know, at the beginning of each of the projects, you have this list of your requirements you will need. Then we have cutting out, and I felt, because there are quite a few, although there's only the 3 pieces, I felt it was quite useful, and I just did a photocopy of that, and I just ticked as I actually cut everything out, because I used a friction pen to mark the back of them.
It's
to
worth
make
it,
sure.
isn't it? Because
yes.
you think you'll remember, and you come back the next day, or even an hour later.
Yeah, you think, what was that piece? What was that piece? And then instead of having to keep going back to the actual pattern pieces. So that's really useful. So, you know, when you're cutting your pieces out, this is all the information that you need for cutting your pattern pieces out. And then, so once you've done that, she takes you through step by step. And I thought what I'd do today, I don't know how much time we'll have, but I thought I'd concentrate on one of the zips, because I've not done one of these zips on air before. So I thought it would be quite useful to do that.
Yeah, because it's one of those things that people think, oh, I can't do that. That looks too tricky.
Yes.
So it's worth, if you know, watch this from begin to end, and you will learn.
Yes, hopefully. So I wanted to do that, but I wanted to show you some of the pieces as well. So
is the canvas and the PU easy to work with? Or
very, very easy. I had got a leather needle at home, so I thought, especially when I didn't have my walking foot, I felt that the leather needle just went through the PU, because you are going to be going through quite a few thicknesses. So I did find that
they're $2.49, and they're worth having. They have a chiselled shape, so almost like a triangular point on the end.
Yes.
So they just cut.
Yes.
They cut through rather than, and that just, it makes a neater finish, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it does. Although the actual PU isn't very thick, so it's not like, you know, your machine's struggling to go through it. But if you have got leather needles, it does help.
It's just easier. It's a bit like, you know, with all of these things, the tools work, but if you have the right tool, it works better.
Yes, definitely. I mean, this is one of the little tabs at the end, and that's with the, I don't think the camera will be able to get in so close, but that I also with PU, the top stitching I do as a 4 to make sure that you get a really nice, neat top stitching finish. So, so that's good. So you cut all your pattern pieces out. I won't be going through. We have done attaching the magnetic clasps and everything, so I haven't gone through that. You've got all your pieces, and I would say if I've got time I'll try and get to this part, but there are 2, you know, the little inner pockets.
Oh yeah, that bit that joins the 2 of them, that one.
Yes. Now that was something I've never done before, and I thought, how do you do that? And that's actually...
Yes, because it's like you can't see how it's joined
No.
on, it just is.
I know, it's amazing, absolutely amazing. I find it sort of magical, especially when I've not done a bag before. You know, I'm following the instructions, and the instructions are so clear, it's sort of taking you through. And I'm thinking, yeah, but why have I left, you know, and you leave sort of gaps for turning things through, and you think, well, maybe I don't need that, but actually you do, because when you come to the end of the bag,
it works.
But this is where that magic happens.
Okay.
So you actually attaching 2 pieces together. I'm not sure that we'll get to that stage. Couple of other bits I just wanted to show before we get onto the zip. These are the darts, which give the shape.
That gives it that little bit of shape.
Yes, which is really nice. And you can see, again, we've got the fusible fleece there. And when you turn it over, that gives a lovely sort of shape to the actual bag. Rather than a box bottom.
Rather than a box corner, it just gives it a slight depth.
Yes.
But that's more professional, isn't it, than if you just join the fronts and the sides. It just gives it that little bit of detail.
Definitely, definitely. And then this is the other side where we've got the other magnetic clasp.
Right.
So what we'll do is get started. So the instructions are here, and this is the lining that we're doing. So we're doing the zip for the lining. And,
so this is this pocket here.
Yeah, so it's the inside, the internal pocket. That's
that
it.
bit there.
Yeah.
That's the one that we're doing.
Yeah. So
so bright, isn't it?
the other thing that I would say is with that one, the lining, I didn't actually take notice that it's a directional print. So unfortunately, I think the inside of the bag there, don't show it. It's upside down.
You can't really tell, to be honest.
But it's something to bear in mind if you're actually using a directional print. You can see on the flap, if you turn, that is, so when you open it, the butterflies are the right way up. So you want to just be aware of that. Yeah, have a little think about it. So we actually take this part, and she'll tell you which parts to take that you'll be working on. But then she'll refer back to the beginning and take you to the technique
section. Right.
So what we're going to do, this is, we called it an letterbox or a post box. Yeah, post box. And just need the other bit here. And this is the pocket. So if you look here, I've already done the first part, which is attaching, take this out. So this is this part here. And the numbers on the actual instructions refer to the information there. So they won't be sequential necessarily. You know, we haven't got a photograph.
What do you do to start with them?
So what you do to start with, you've got all your pieces. You'll lay your zip wrong side to right side of the lining, and then you'll machine across there. So the actual tab of the zip is facing upwards, okay? Then you'll press that back, and then you'll take your other part of your pocket, and we'll just clip that together. And then I'm just going to machine along there. So the zip is facing upwards, and you think, that's a bit strange. You know, it's not something that you would normally. So if I just whiz across there, otherwise we won't get any stitching done. Undo your zip. The tab out of the way slightly, and then normal stitch length, and then we'll just machine along there about 1/4 inch from the actual edge. Then when you come along a bit, just leave your needle down, lift your foot up, move that out of the way, match your edge of your zip to the raw edge of the fabric. And then just keep going along. And you think, oh, do I top stitch at this stage? And you don't need to top stitch.
This is just sewing the zip.
It is actually just sewing the zip in. So when you open it, you've got the wrong side of the zip, and you think,
you need to, if you move your book out of the way,
yep.
just to, that's better. That's it. Lovely.
Okay. So we have the zip inserted there, and I will press it in a minute, but I want to get on to the next part. So the next part is you've got the zip flap, I think they call it, facing, pocket facing, and you'll measure down.
Is that just a piece of fabric?
So it's a piece of the fabric with interfacing.
Okay.
Okay, and it's one of the ones that is in the pattern. And they'll give you all the information that you need as far as the positioning of this particular marking that you're doing. And you've got it about 1 inch away from the edge there. It tells you the length that you need to do, and it also tells you that you want little triangles at either end, and then the dotted line is the one that we're going to be actually cutting. So I'm going
You're just sewing one piece of, a strip of fabric on top of another one.
Yeah. So I'm not going to change the foot. You could go back to your normal foot, but you want to just make sure that you're stitching on the line.
On the stitching line, not the cutting line.
And go along to the end. And as I say, all the instructions for this are included. When you get to the end, leave a needle down, rotate, and then turn again. Just want one more stitch, I think.
So it's worth taking that a bit slowly, going around there to get it.
Yeah. Don't worry if you're a little bit out. It's it's not not drastic if you're a little bit out. I've come off the line slightly. Take your pins out as you go along.
Yeah. So at the moment, the most popular one is the one with the orange, the corally colour one.
It's so lovely
which is the one
and
that
bright,
made.
isn't it?
That's the one that's the
Yes.
most popular at the moment.
And you do get a lot of fabric, so there may be fabric left over, to make another little clutch bag or a little tote bag or something. Yeah.
And if you like the this orange butterfly dahlia print, we are selling it by the half metre. There it is there, £5.99 for half a metre. Remember, it's a canvas fabric. It's not just your normal quilting fabric, but it's a canvas, not really stiff. We don't have the navy, but we do have that coral. So if you like that fabric and you'd like to buy it, if you want, buy it by the half metre, so you want to buy, 3 metres for it or something, then you can.
Okay, so we've machined all the way round like that. I'm sorry, I've come off slightly. I think it's when you're standing up.
I know,
hard.
It's very
yeah,
hard.
It's really hard. Sorry, that's my excuse, and I'm
No,
sticking
it
to
is. When I sew standing up, I'm really used to it now, like you are, but it's still not as easy.
No, not at all. So what we're going to do is actually cut this now. So I know, it's like, ooh. So I find you can use a seam ripper. What I would suggest is if you're using a seam ripper, make sure that you pop a pin at the end.
Stop you going too far.
Stop you going too far. But I find that I've got more control if I use scissors, and I've used big sharp scissors.
Right.
So just fold that so that the raw edges match, and this will just get you started. And we're going to just snip.
So just to make a starting hole.
And then hopefully you can see, we're just going to cut along there. I find this fascinating, this particular technique. Whoever thought of it?
I know, it's weird. Who thought of this? So because you're thinking, so I'm sewing one piece of fabric to another.
Yeah, and
then I'm going to cut a hole in it.
Yes.
I know, maybe someone just thought, right, what is the best way? I guess it's just the theory behind it is you're adding a facing.
Yes, exactly.
So that's like the thought behind it.
Exactly. So I've cut through there, and now you're actually going to post. This is why it's called a letterbox or a post box. You're going to just fold that through to the other side. I'm going to get the iron and the ironing board so I can press this. Now this will be a little bit, not fiddly, just take a little bit of time, because at those ends you want that end to be quite flat. So
it's just basically, it's a way of making a hole or a slit in a piece of fabric that you put the zip beneath.
yes,
But making it neat.
yes,
Because if you just cut a slit and turn the sides over to the wrong side and hem them, it wouldn't look as neat.
no, it wouldn't, and it wouldn't be so so professional. I don't think. What you can do is use your glue pen if you want to, just to hold that facing down. But I am going to use the iron. I'm going to just cut. I've got excess. Don't want the interfacing going on the iron. That wouldn't do. Oops. Just cut that. Right, so let's get the ironing mat. And the iron. Okay. So I'm just going to take my time, and what you can do is use a pressing cloth if you like, rather than go straight onto the interfacing. So I am
so
just
if
going
you've
to
interfaced the inside of that, you need to be a bit careful, because it can't handle the heat as well.
No. So I'm just going to try and get this done nice and flat, and then show you how to put the pocket in. And as I say, it's just worth taking your time just to try and get the ends.
Yeah, it's
nice
a little
and
bit
flat.
fiddly, isn't it? But if you do it slowly,
Yes.
it all comes through eventually.
Yes. And it's very forgiving. The fabric is very forgiving, which is lovely. So because it's got a nice weave to it, it's not really, really stiff.
Yeah, it's not too tight, is it?
No.
It's a lovely canvas, because normally canvases are quite stiff.
I know.
This is
I
sort
know.
of a halfway house canvas.
Yeah, it's lovely. And I love the patterns on them. Right. So here's the magic.
Look at that. Now we've got the neatest gap. But it's like, it's not just a gap, is it? It's a proper
No.
little hole, because it's got edges.
It has. So there you go. That's your the preparation part. And then what you're going to do,
So the zip that you put in
I'm going to actually, I'm just going to press that open. Again, just be careful.
So that's the inside of the
Yes.
pocket. And
That
front
is
and
the
back.
inside of the pocket. So that's why you've got the wrong side of the zip with the
Yeah.
right side of the, you know, it's a bit strange.
It is, yeah, but it's the inside, front and back of the pocket.
Yes.
And it's nice that you've got it in a matching fabric as well.
Yes. So then what you're going to do is actually just pop this over the zip. So again, this is where I think I've got a pen. Yeah, with
Well, a glue pen or the quilter's tape comes
Yeah.
in handy. So rather than tacking it,
Yeah.
it's much easier to just quickly glue it in place, because it stays.
I'm actually going to put the glue on the fabric rather than on the zip. I don't
This
want
is a proper glue for you that is
The
for
fabric
fabric.
glue,
It dries clear.
yeah.
It does wash out as
Yes.
well. But people use it for all sorts, like EPP and
Yes.
Particularly zips.
I've been using it so much recently. It's been really good. Just gives you that little bit of, you know, you can pin. You don't have to
Yeah,
have this.
I think it's more accurate, because when you pin, you move the fabric slightly. I much prefer to use, it's one of those things you think, why are you not using glue? But as long as you use the right glue,
Yep.
and you can sew through it without gumming up your needle as well.
Yes. So I'm just going to pop that there like that, just smooth the glue in, and just going to check, right. Okay, don't do it that way. do it that way. It's good to say. So again, you know, you
But
just
the glue
need to be
is
sure.
repositionable.
Yes, I've just proved it.
But always check. It's quicker to check.
Yep.
Because we always do that. We could put things together and go, is that right size, is that wrong size? Always check, because it's so much easier to move it at this stage.
Yeah, well, the reason why I did that was that this is going to be your pocket.
Right, and
so the longer part of the pocket needed to be above the actual inside.
But it's all in the instructions.
Yes.
You haven't got to remember any of this.
Yeah.
This is just...
But again, you know, it's worth just trying, especially with this sort of bag, it is worth just trying things. So this was where we now do our top stitching around the actual outside.
Okay.
So pop that back.
And did you use a leather needle for this? I don't suppose you don't have to do.
You don't have to, but I've got the leather needle in the machine.
Yeah, and it's fine.
Yeah, it's absolutely fine.
I mean, if it was a really sort of fine cotton fabric or lawn or something,
yes,
best not to.
Yes,
but
absolutely.
for a canvas fabric.
Yeah.
So you just top stitch all the way around the edge of the post box?
Yes. So I'm just going to lengthen the stitch length and then just...
And Cara's used a contrast thread for this, but you can use a matching one. So if you're a bit new to this and you haven't top stitched before, if you know what you do, but you know, if you're a bit nervous about top stitching, then use a matching thread and it won't show up. But if you're experienced like Cara, you can use a contrast thread and it looks lovely.
Well, I've actually, with this one, because it's the PU's brown, all my threads are brown.
Okay.
So anything that shows is going to match the brown PU.
Yes, that's really nice.
So, you know, you think, oh, brown and blue, but actually it works really well. So just take your time. Pop this round.
Yeah, just remember, in the bundle that you buy, other than the book, you get everything, and that's just really nice. Saves you looking for it, and you know that when you get your kit back home, everything that you need is in there. You will be able to make a complete replica of Cara's bag.
Right, I think I'm just a little bit off there. Right, don't do as I've just done. I'm just a little bit too far over. I will carry on, but I've just noticed that my top stitching is not close to the edge. You want to be as close to the edge as you can. So, nobody else will notice, but I do. I'm actually going to now open the zip, so you've got the pulley there, and then just go round the end, and again just make sure that everything's nice and flat. I will show you the bit that I know that I would normally at home I'd redo.
Yeah, the orange is still the most popular, still in the lead of from the indigo one.
I think this is sort of like an everyday bag. I would use it as an everyday bag, you know, because you can get so much in it.
Well, it's really lovely, isn't it? It's your sort of, it's your overstuffed handbag with so many things in it, but because it's got so many compartments, you can actually find what you're looking for in it.
So please, I apologise now. I would normally go a lot closer to the edge there, but this is your...
Look at that. That's amazing.
And the next stage,
we've got about 10 minutes left.
Yeah, the next stage is you just pop some clips there.
That's really clever, isn't it? So you've
Right.
got it beautifully inserted, and when you open the pocket, you can see. So you could use a different fabric for the inside of there, a little splash of colour if you wanted.
So this is where they suggest leaving a gap.
Okay.
And you think,
Why?
And it's right at the end when you're turning everything through and everything goes through this gap.
Everything goes through the pocket.
It's really,
So
really strange.
you don't need the gap for the pocket, you need the gap for the bag.
Yeah.
That's
so,
really good.
Yeah.
So that means everything is enclosed.
Yes.
There's nothing, and the only seam that you have to sew up is inside the pocket.
So if you open the zip
Yes.
and take the pocket out,
yeah, so there's the pocket, that's that little gap is being top stitched closed. So the only bit of top stitching, or if you slip stitch, is inside the pocket.
Yes.
Because normally if you made one of these pockets, you wouldn't leave the bottom open.
No, and that's
And
the
but you
bit.
thought, oh, why is that?
I know,
Weird.
you do leave one other part. I think the other part of the lining, you do leave that. So
very
do
clever.
you want me to just go round and then
that's
you can
fine.
show?
Yeah. And then just show what it looks like.
Yeah.
It's amazing you can get the whole bag through that little pocket.
I know, but it is so forgiving. Again, I put my normal foot back on, make sure that your stitch length, go back down. And I'm just going to quickly whiz. There's quite a few layers, so you might need to just...
To go around. And
Yep.
it's really nice in this book as well, isn't it? You obviously get the pattern for this bag, but you get loads of others as well.
Yes.
Which is actually, when you think what a bag pattern would normally cost, it's quite good value.
It's very good value. The other thing is when you're machine stitching the pocket close, make sure that this part of the lining is actually out of the way.
And you don't sew that into it or it won't work.
Yeah. Oh! Lights went off.
The lights
That
went
was
off.
strange.
But your machine light stayed on.
I know.
Thankfully.
That was weird. Ooh, don't.
Do you think we had a little bit of a storm going on?
Possibly. Oh, I don't know, or the wind. Just going to...
It'll be that storm I drove through this morning.
Oh, gosh, it was...
What's it called?
Oh,
Bella. Storm Bella.
I hope everybody's been safe and hasn't
Me and
had...
Storm Bella went up the M5 this morning,
Yeah.
hand in hand.
I hope people haven't had floods and things.
Well,
That's
I
the
think
last thing you
there is
need.
flooding, isn't there, in
Yeah.
some, but I think Bedfordshire and Northamptonshire, that's what
Yes.
it said anyway.
Even on the way over here, we went through quite a few big puddles. Luckily, you know, and there was one part where I think a tree had come down, and obviously somebody come along and cut it.
Oh, okay. I was expecting to find debris across
Yes.
the motorway from what they said yesterday,
Yeah.
but it wasn't as bad as I thought, actually.
So, as I say, I hope everybody's keeping safe and dry.
Well, it said by light, by about sort of 8 o'clock it was supposed to have gone.
Yes, there wasn't much wind at all. So, right, so I've machined round. I've got, sorry, don't know what's happened there. I've got my gap. I might have made it a little bit bigger. And then
if you open that up, look at that. Magic.
so you've got your pocket.
That's lovely. And that's so neat as well.
Yep.
Right, we've got about 5 minutes for you to run through the
trying to
next bit.
think. This will take a little bit longer, but I'm just wondering if I can actually just go through.
If you talk us through.
So that's your lining, and the other part of the lining has just a loose pocket, and that's really easy to do. You've got an opening at the bottom, you'll top stitch at the top. You can do a line down there, or you can do, depending on how many sections you want, then you'll top stitch all the way around to hold that in position. You'll do your darts again at the corners to make the shape. And then this is this part. I could have carried on because there are sort of so many elements.
Parts
yes,
aren't there?
definitely. So one of these you'll actually, let's bring this in. That's good. Drop that on the floor.
Oh, Margaret's just messaged in to say she loves your clear and methodical presentation
Thank
style.
you. As I say, I could carry on. It would be wonderful because this bag has got so many elements.
Yeah, we did say you could just have all 5 hours. And
Yes,
just have to make the
that's
bag.
fine, and just finish and get a bag at the end of it. So this is the part where these are the inner sections, and this
Okay.
is the part
So
where
these are
you actually,
PU,
yeah.
these are
So
the
this
inner
is the
ones.
PU and the inner bits, that little
Right.
inner bit there. So the two centre bits of the
So that piece there and that piece there, you you put together.
Yeah, and then you'll add little tabs on the end of your zip. They suggest the length of the zip, and with these nylon zips, you can actually cut
And that's for this
to
zip
the length.
here.
So that's
This is
that
the
zip
second
there.
section.
Yeah. And then these are the instructions. So you put your zip right side down.
So you've got the two bits pinned together, and obviously you insert a zip between the front and back. But then how do you join once that's done?
So you'll do your zip there like that, and you'll actually have then this other part. So this is the other part of the lining. So this
the
is
lining
the other,
on here.
yeah, the
Yeah.
other part of the lining, and that goes over the top of the zip. So can you see here?
Yes, yeah.
But what you need to make sure is when you're doing that, that you actually pin this part all out of the way. Once you put the zip in, this is all pinned out, or not pinned, clipped out of the way, because you don't want to catch that in.
No, because you're only sewing the line to there. You
Yeah.
don't want to catch that bit in.
So that bit would then go over the top of the zip. So
and then how do you do that bit?
that would take another.
Oh, okay. But basically you're sewing those two sections together.
Yes. So you'll have your part with the pocket, and then I think that one, if we just open the page again. So you've inserted your zip, and then you'll have the inner part, which is this part here. Can you see on the photograph here?
Yeah.
They folded that all up. In fact, they folded it up and just clipped it like that. And then you'll have your outer, I'm not explaining this very well, but you'll have your outer part of your bag with and you've already got your zip. Your zip will be in here.
So it all sort of gets constructed all together at the same time, because this is amazing that you've got the front and the back of the bag joined together. But it does have a pocket as well.
Yes, yeah.
But it's all in the book. You haven't got to remember anything. It's all in there, and it's very, very clear.
And all I would do is just take your time, especially with this part.
Right.
Take your time when you're going through this part, and just do it a bit at a time. Clip the fabric together, and just make sure that you're following it really step by step.
And you can always sort of like Cara did earlier, turn it out and go, is that the right way round?
Yes.
And then it will make sense. But you will learn so much from making this bag.
Huge amount. And as I say, I'm really sorry that I haven't managed to get to this part properly, but I knew that time was sort of
but I think showing that
essence.
zip, because the postbox or letterbox zip is a really useful thing. You can use for loads and loads of different things. You can put, if you want to put an internal zip into inside a jacket.
Yes.
Or
the tote bags that we've done loads and loads of tote bags, and sometimes you think, actually, do you know what, I need something that I can put my credit cards in, or my phone, or something that's really safe inside. So you can use that technique on any of the bags. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
That's all right.
Brilliant. So we will see you in an hour for
Sashiko. I know. Hand stitching.
Lovely. Thanks so much. So we'll just have a quick recap. The book, The Complete Bag Making Masterclass. It's only $15.99. You get 8 projects, but on top of that, you get the most amazing techniques, materials, everything about that zip pocket that you've just seen from Cara, how to do that. And so that means that any of the patterns in here you can adapt. It shows you how to join 2 sections of a bag together, everything you need to know, as well as all of these beautiful projects. And I love the section about called Hardware and Bling, because this is what really adds that extra touch. The hardware for bags is never terribly expensive, but it's just it's about having the right pieces. It does make a difference. It's about having, on a bag like this, you could just sew the strap in. But by having the swivel clips and the triangular bits, it just gives it that extra detail, doesn't it? Well, also makes it adjustable as well. That's how you can make it the right length. But it all matches. So you haven't got to go to the shop and go, well, I can only get silver in that and that and that. It all does match. But so that section, and also knowing how to put in a magnetic clasp, it's all in there. Everything. Lovely, lovely book. I love these triangular clasps. These what are they called? These, the twist lock. I couldn't remember what it was called. The twist locks are lovely. They're really nice. They're in some of the books, but it tells you how to do it. So that's a great book. And remember, all the patterns are in the back, which I didn't show you earlier. $15.99, which is a great price. And we have 2 bundles. So if you want to make this bag here, beautiful one with the orange butterflies, that's our most popular, in the kit, you get 1/2 metre of the navy PU, beautifully soft. You get 1 metre of this lovely sort of orangey coral background featuring butterflies and roses and small little blue flowers. And there's a very faint sort of leaf print in the background, so it's not a solid background. These beautiful I think dahlias maybe, possibly chrysanthemums. Really beautiful. I mean, really gives you a bit of freshness and colour, doesn't it? Also, we do have this fabric by the half metre. So if you want to buy more of it to make something else, if you like the look of it and you think, oh, I'd like to use that for one of the other bags in the book, you can buy it. Remember, if you want more than a half metre, we do cut to order. So if you want, say, 1.5 metres, put 3 in the box, because you have 3 half metres, and you will get it as a 1.5 metre piece. The PU is also available by the half metre if you want to buy that. So in the kit as well are the 2 zips needed for the bag. You've got the rivets, 2 swivel clips, the triangle ring, 2 slide buckles, or you only need 1, metallic clasp, and not the clip. I don't know why they're doing that. The other one that Cara's been using in her demonstration, you get this is the navy bundle. You get this lovely deep sort of plain chocolate PU background, the same fabric as the other one, but with a really nice like a navy, but not a really midnight navy, more of an ocean navy, I'd say. It's not as dark as the deep navy, with the same print on, but the colours in this print are exactly the same as the colours in the other one. Yeah, the flowers are, but you can see how it shows up. These big butterflies are a different colour, but it looks completely different, doesn't it, with that on it. That's a beautiful fabric. So you get a whole metre of that. That's absolutely loads. It's really lovely. That's it in half. Look. I will have to refold that, but look, what a lovely big piece of fabric you get. So there's loads in there. So, you know, if you want to make this go a little bit further, I mean, Cara said there will be some left over, but you could use other fabrics in your own stash to do the parts of the linings or the insides of the pockets. And then you've got more if you want to make a matching purse or another bag to go with it. So you've got a lot of fabric in that kit and all the hardware. So in here you've got the 2 zips needed, the metallic clasp, 2 swivel clips, the alloy triangle rings, 2 slide buckles, and all the rivets. It's everything you need. So I hope you've enjoyed that one. That was great. I really enjoyed the postbox pocket because it looks tricky, but if you do it methodically, it really makes sense. So that's been great. So we're going to have a break for a couple of minutes and I will be back with storage. We've got lots and lots of different things you might not have seen before, quite clever storage for all different sorts of items. So go and put the kettle on and I will see you in a couple of minutes.
Hello everyone, my name's Cara Ackerman and I'm absolutely delighted to be here at Sewing Street. I actually originated from Hertfordshire, then went down to Hampshire and then it ended up in the East Midlands. I've been in the East Midlands for about 40 years now, which seems crazy, but 36 of those I actually worked with DMC Creative World, which was wonderful. I really enjoyed that. And then I decided to go freelance and that's how I got introduced to Sewing Street. I love doing anything to do with textiles, so embroidery, cross stitch, patchwork, done a bit of quilting, bag making, toy making, oh goodness, there's loads and loads of things. What I love doing is just trying something new, and I think one of the tips is don't be frightened of trying something new. You always learn from it, and you know, don't be scared of making mistakes either. We all learn from the mistakes that we make. Little bit about me that you might not know and that's a bit of a surprise. I once went to the garden party down at Buckingham Palace, the Queen's garden party, for some work that I did with Marie Curie. I was so lucky to go there and just a wonderful time. So I hope to see more of you on Sewing Street and I hope to try lots of new crafts with you. So see you again soon. Bye bye.
Hi, I'm Sally Ann Harrison. I just want to wish everybody at Sewing Street and Yarn Lane a wonderful Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Hi everyone, it's Fiona from Sew Girl here. I just want to wish everybody at Sewing Street, all the team and the viewers and everybody who's involved, a very happy Christmas and look forward to seeing you all in the new year.
Hi, I'm Sam from Adventures in Crafting, wishing you all a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Hello, it's Mark from the Great British Sewing Bee here.
And I am Clive, Mark's husband, also from Beautiful Design.
And we've just popped up to wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year for 2021.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yeah.
And keep sewing.
Keep sewing.
Keep
and
sewing.
Knitting and crochet.
And knitting and crochet.
And everything else you could do
And
with thread.
crafting.
Yeah. What else
And
can you do?
eating mince pies.
Oh yes, eating mince pies.
Yeah, mince pies.
Mince pies.
Ooh.
Hello everyone, my name's Cara Ackerman and I'm absolutely delighted to be here at Sewing Street. I actually originated from Hertfordshire, then went down to Hampshire and then it ended up in the East Midlands. I've been in the East Midlands for about 40 years now, which seems crazy, but 36 of those I actually worked with DMC Creative World, which was wonderful. I really, really enjoyed that. And then I decided to go freelance, and that's how I got introduced to Sewing Street. I love doing anything to do with textiles, so embroidery, cross stitch, patchwork, done a bit of quilting, bag making, toy making, oh goodness, there's loads and loads of things. What I love doing is just trying something new, and I think one of the tips is don't be frightened of trying something new. You always learn from it, and you know, don't be scared of making mistakes either. We all learn from the mistakes that we make. Little bit about me that you might not know, and that's a bit of a surprise. I once went to the garden party down at Buckingham Palace, the Queen's garden party, for some work that I did with Marie Curie. I was so lucky to go there, and just a wonderful time. So I hope to see more of you on Sewing Street, and I hope to try lots of new crafts with you. So see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Oh, hello, welcome back to Sewing Street. We've got a wonderful hour here of storage. I love storage, don't we love storage? Instead of having all of your bits and pieces in plastic bags or odd pots, let's get the right storage, because it makes, well, it protects your tools and it makes finding them easier and it looks more attractive. And I've got all different sorts here for you. So if you need a bit of storage, or if you just want to learn something about it, you will really enjoy this hour. I'm going to start off with this beautiful little bobbin box. Now this box is filled with 25 bobbins, and they'll fit the Elna and the Janome machines. They're red. And you know what it's like that you know, when you run out of a bobbin, really, really irritating. I mean, did a show last week and I ran out. Very, very annoying. Or it's quite frustrating if you haven't got enough bobbins and you have to actually take thread off a bobbin to put new thread on. You think, what a waste of thread, because you have to just throw it out. So with a box like this, 25, and you can have them all threaded up and just keep them in here, and then you know which one will go with which one. So that's lovely, isn't it? Exclusive to Sewing Street as well. Only £15, and it comes all in this lovely little box. And it's £15 for 25 bobbins, and they are exclusive to us, and they all come in this lovely little box with a clasp. So, you know, you can have all your bobbins. If you have them all lying around, they all get tangled up and you lose the thread off them. But it really is worth it, because it means you don't waste thread. So if you've treated yourself to a new Janome or Elna, or you got one for Christmas, or you've got one already, this is perfect, because you won't waste thread or time, because you can have all your bobbins wound up in advance. Bargain, bargain. Next, the spool holder, this one. Now this is really useful, because it's just a really good way of being able to find all your threads and see them. It's also a nicer way of storing, so you can put all your threads in a box, but if you've got them all on a holder, you can have them on a shelf there. So, where is the thread? This one here. So I'm just going to show you how it works. I'll just open this one. It's like a football stadium, isn't it? This is the stand in a football stadium. And or you can just put all of your threads on here. Yes, this is a non-socially distanced stadium though. So they just all pop on here. You can just put, I'm not going to push them all the way down. But they also, even if you've got the bigger Aurifil threads, they'll fit that as well. So you can just a really nice way of storing them, isn't it? So you can immediately see what you've got. Now with, in the last hour, we had some thread that had the little bobbin clips. So what you can do is with these is you can thread the bobbin, you can put the bobbin clip on and then put it on there, and then you've got all of your threads with the matching bobbins all on top. So you can just look this box, I'll show you this box of thread because it's a really nice one. So you can either keep them in a tin, but it's just really nice to have them all displayed. It's a lot easier. I've got one of these, I've got a bigger one actually, and it's wonderful because it actually just looks really nice. I like having mine. I didn't have one for a while. I always kept my thread in a box, but it makes me feel like with this on the shelf that I've got a sewing shop. And I start off, to be honest, all in order. And I've got all the neutrals at the top and the pinks and the blues. And then I just keep chucking them on, and then every now and then I sort it out. But it is a lot easier to see what you've got. It means you don't then buy thread you don't need. It makes you realise when you've run out of white or cream and then you need to get some more. But it's just an attractive thing. And it's only $4.99. You can get 32. You can get 32, and if you buy more than one, you can have them all next to each other in a row. Or you could even have them, if you've got a deep shelf, you can put them behind each other because you can see through it. But, you know, once you've got it filled with thread, it's just a really attractive but useful addition to your sewing room. And at $4.99, it's worth having 2 or 3 of these because that holds 32. If you're anything like me, you've got loads of them. And I've got all different sorts. I've got Aurifil on there, I've got Gutermann, I've got all different types of thread. It doesn't really matter, but it will fit all of them. So what a nice thing. And remember, it's only 1 P&P a day. It's only $3.95 for the whole day. Doesn't matter how much you put in your basket or how many times you check out, because remember, if it's in your basket, it's not yours. You've got to check out first. So I'm going to take them all off and put them back in this little tin. And now they're all going to be in the wrong order because I'm not sure I've put them back in the order. So this box of threads that I'm getting all of these out of, I need to put them back so you can actually see them. This is gorgeous. This is gorgeous. Now I love Gutermann thread. I mean, I use Aurifil for my quilting and for particularly my top stitching because I'm a bit mean with it because it's quite expensive and good quality. But for my normal sewing, for sewing seams, dressmaking, normal sewing, can't get that back in, it's have to go like that. It's a nice tin. I love a tin. Isn't that a lovely tin? I would pay for that anyway. It's a lovely tin. It's got the Gutermann factory on it. And then you go inside and it's all padded here. So it's all, I mean, it was all in the right order. It was beautiful until I took it all out. So it's now all in the wrong order. But there's 48 spools in here. And each of the spools, I think, is 100 metres, 110 yards, 100 metres long of each one. But you've got all the colours you need. So you've got bright white, and then just off-white, creams, beiges, greys, all the colours. So even blue, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shades of blue. You've got the turquoises moving into the greens, and you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shades of green, but also those bluey greens. You've got pinks, reds, but you've got sort of a deep wine red and a bright red and a darker red and a pinky red and a pink. And so you've got everything, and then you've also got the greys. So you've got 4 shades of grey and black. You've got 4 shades of brown. So pretty much you've got a couple of purples as well. You've got every colour that you need in there. So $59.99, that's a bargain, isn't it? How much does that work out per spool? £1.24 per spool. And that doesn't even include the tin. So you can keep them in the tin, or you could put the tin on the spool rack and then you could use the tin for something else. You know, you could put buttons, zips. This would be perfect for zips. I've got a box, well, I've got quite a lot of zips actually, but you know, because it's nice and sturdy, but it's a lovely thing to keep zips in as well because it's a good length, or buttons, or you know, lots of things if you want to take them out there. But actually it's really nice to keep the thread in here because then you can immediately see if you're missing one, and you could put them back in order as well. But you know, This is the time of year that you've treated everyone else to Christmas. It's about time you treated yourself and have something lovely. But there is nothing worse than running out of thread or not having it. You know, but when you think of it, that it is £1.20 a spool, bargain, absolute bargain. And isn't that lovely? And it's quality. That's lovely. Actually, that goes straight through your letterbox. What a nice little gift. But if you know anyone who likes sewing and would like a little treat, that's a lovely tin, isn't it? Beautiful thing. So that's the thread. What should we move on to next? Right, this one here. So this is lovely if you want to store your thread, but maybe you're on the move, or maybe you just want to stack them. You don't want them all out open, because everyone has slightly different needs. So let's go back to my tin again. Maybe you want to take it traveling, you know, when we start going to workshops again, or you're on the move, or if you buy several of them, they will all stack on top of each other. But it's a really neat and lovely way of keeping all your thread together. See, let's see how they all fit in, and then you can just put the lid on, so they fit beautifully. And you can get 27 spools in here. 27 spools of thread in here, and it's tiny, but you know that it's a really economical way of storing. But you can have one, you know, you could have one with all your neutrals in, one with all your brights in, or if you've got loads of thread, you could have one for greens, one for blues. It's lovely having it all sorted. But you could put bobbins in there as well, if you wanted to. If you didn't want to just have all the threads, you could have the threads and then the bobbins for them. But it's just a really good way of organising what you've got using minimal space, because you'd never get, you know, there's not a lot of extra space here. You wouldn't get all of those threads together. So that's great. And that's only £4.99. And remember, so work out how many spools have you got, and then just buy a few. And honestly, there's nothing more pleasurable than sorting it all out and putting it together. If I'm just going to move on to making it, I'm going to make up now to the embroidery thread organiser, only because I've just done this. I've just done this at home. I bought, so in the embroidery thread organiser, you get all of these skeins of stranded cotton. This is DMC stranded cotton, which is beautiful quality. You get 8 metres on a skein, and there's 6 strands in each skein. Really, really good quality. Now, I bought myself, oh, this one's not open. Ours is sealed. I bought myself 5 of these. And in the box, you get the cardboard bobbins. I don't know why ours is sealed. This is rubbish, isn't it? So I'm just going to open it. The warehouse can live with that. There we go. Because you need to be able to see inside it. This is important. So if you like embroidery or cross stitch, and you've got loads of thread, which I have, once you start using this, the labels fall off. When you get about half a skein left, the labels fall off, and then you don't know what the thread is. So if you've got one of these, oh, look at this, is all stuck together, isn't it? The whole thing is stuck together. I have to take it all off. Right. You then no one's getting this back, because you need to be able to see inside. So inside you've got the cardboard bobbins. Now these are fantastic because they fit in the little holes. So you take your skein of thread, before you take the label off, look at the number and write on here what the number is. So that one's 3012. So with a pen, just write 3012. And I always write D, because you might have anchor thread as well. So if it's DMC 3012, you wind it all around the bobbin, and then the bobbin fits in the hole. You can get about 5 or 6 in each hole. And I wonder, does it say there's 100 paper bobbins in here. Now, 100 paper bobbins and the storage box and TMDs. Now, these DMC skeins normally retail at about, I think, £1.20 a skein. And this is £9.99 for the entire thing. So actually, you're getting 10 skeins cheaper than you would if you just bought them. And then you'd get the box for free. When you wind them on, you can just wind these by hand. You see these little slit. You put the end of through there, and then you wind them all on. But the bobbin winder is brilliant. So this is what it looks like here. That's the bobbin. Oh, let me turn it around. That's the bobbin winder. But what it does is it clips on top of the edge, Actually, that's got a little hole there, isn't it? So it clips on the edge, and then you put your bobbin on here, and then you just wind it round. You can wind your skein round, and it sits on there, and then it's just a quicker, neater way of doing it. And you can keep it in there, or you can keep a little pair of scissors, or you can get more things on. But I have got so much stranded cotton, and it is a right mess, and I use it for all sorts, for cross stitch and embroidery, and I use it for applique, for embellishing my stitching. So I made a needle case the other day, and I thought, well, I'll do a nice little running stitch around the edge, and using stranded cotton for that is better than sewing cotton. But I never know which numbers I've got, and it's all over the place, and I have spent hours threading mine. And then I've got this beautiful, I've got 5 of these. Beautiful multicoloured thing. That's where it's all gone. And I've got 6 now. I've taken all the packaging off. In fact, I needed another one. But when you think that these are £1.20 each for 10, so that would be £12 for just the skeins, and then the box would be about £5. Oh, the bobbins as well, because I bought some of those recently. They would cost you about £1 at least for the 100. That's an absolute bargain. But it is worth getting the bobbin winder as well, because it just fits onto there. And then you put the bobbin inside, just inside this little section here. There's a little hole in here. So what you can do, the reason for the hole is it will fit into the bobbin winder. But also some people use these cardboard bobbins, and then they tie them all together. Bottoms, not bottoms, but bobbins. But you put the little hole through there, and then you put the little pin through the hole, and it comes out the other side, and then you just, see? So you hold the skein in one hand. I think they'll kill me if I open the skeins as well as the box. So you hold the skein in one hand, and then it just winds it on. I've done the damage now. Or you can, that's why they're there. The hole is for this, but also some people string them together, and then you just write on it. You can write it in pencils, you can rub it out if you want. But then, then when you get to the end of it, you put the other end through the other slip. But honestly, you want to keep stranded cotton stored and organised, and it's just wonderful. So the other day I wanted a project, and I thought, oh, have I got number 957? And I put mine all in numerical order as well, which you can do if you want to, or you can put it in colour order. It just depends, but I've got so much of it, I put mine in numerical order. No, it's lovely. Honestly, it's just a pleasure. And the good thing about organising all your thread like this is you can do it in front of the telly. I'm all in for crafts and things you can do in front of the telly, because then by the end of the evening it's all done, isn't it? Mine's just taking me hours and hours and hours to do my 5 boxes, and I still haven't finished. But it is worth it already. And then when you finish with them, you just put them back in. But you know, this is storage that is made specifically. You can use all different things to store your shredded cotton or your thread, but if you use the right storage, it just fits well. So that's lovely. Fun storage. Right, so this is about, you know, if you want to store all your sewing kit, or this is a great gift for somebody. If you've got, you know, maybe a daughter, granddaughter, or friend, or someone who's just getting into sewing, and you want to give them either this is a kit, a box so they can put all their sewing stuff in, or you could fill it up for them. It's got this beautiful, really pretty unicorn on the front, cotton fabric, and it's quite a nice deep rose pink with white spots. It's got one of these lovely, this is so traditional, I bet all of you remember these. You probably had one as a child, or your mum had one, all bound with this string. And then we open it up, and there's a, I'll turn it around so you can see that there's a magnetic clasp on the front, and then you open it up, and inside, there we go, you can see there's a plastic tray for putting all your pieces in, and then a deep bottom. So, and it's also got, I'm going to turn it, can you see if I turn it round? Yeah, it's got a little elasticated pocket in here for keeping things in, and a pin cushion. But that's really good for storing needles, particularly if they're, you know, if they're threaded already. So that's for that. I mean, this is just one of those really traditional sewing boxes. You've even got lace around the edge, but really fun. So you could buy it for yourself to store things, but this makes a lovely gift for somebody. If you buy them some pins, some thread, a pair of scissors, a packet of needles, a few buttons, fill it up and give it to somebody. That gets them into sewing, doesn't it? And how special to have your own very own. I bought one for my daughter, I think when she was 7 or 8, and well, you know, so special to have your very own sewing kit, or use it to store your own things. But it's lovely. New year, new craft, and new year, get someone else into a new craft. I've got another one here as well, different shape, a bit slightly bigger, this one, deeper. This has got cats on it. It's like patchwork cats. Really pretty. So it's got all of these cats, and they're like made from different fabrics, floral fabrics. So there's pink and brown. It's all on a like a linen weave pattern. The handle, it's got this same sort of raffia string round it in a neutral tone. Again, you've got the magnetic clasp. And so if we open him up inside, it's a really nice, is it a hexagon? No, a hexagon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, it's got 8 sides. So an octagon, but it's not a regular octagon because the sides are not all the same. So you've got the elasticated pocket, you've got the pin cushion, and you've got really deep. This is great for storing. Maybe if you're working on a particular project, you could keep everything, like say you're doing your EPP or you're doing some embroidery, you could get your hoop, your fabric or your thread. You could keep your scissors in there. So this is great for a project that you're doing, and maybe you're doing it in the living room, and rather than chucking it in a plastic bag and putting it down the side of the sofa when you've finished, you could put it all in here and put it on the coffee table, and it's a lovely thing to keep. Or, you know, use it for storing specific things. Maybe you've got a massive button collection. It'd be ideal for that. Or, you know, you could use it for maybe you've got some really nice fat quarters of fabric. Again, a really good gift. Buy somebody a pack of fat quarters and put them in here. So it's really good. So for only, you know, $22.99, that's a really attractive piece of storage. Now I've got a really, should we do glitter? Look at this one. This is a really solid storage box. But, you know, if you don't want to use it for your fabric things, it'd be really good for makeup or your hair or your hair products or jewellery. You get loads of necklaces in here. So it's got a really nice solid plastic handle, and so you can hear, so really solid sides. It's got heart fabric and the 4 dividers, and then this really glittery, I'm going to move it around a bit so you can see how much it shines, really pink glittery fabric all the way round, and it's even got glitter on the base, and look, doesn't come off in your hands either. But so you could use this for your sewing things. It'd be really good for putting scissors in, because you could put them all in because they'd stick up, or put all your rotary cutters in it. Put your rotary cutters in style, or you could use fat quarters, all sorts of things. Or, you know, you could have it for different things. You could have your fabric marking pens in one, scissors in another, but you could use it for other things like your jewellery or hair things, hair brushes, makeup brushes. Put it in the bathroom. Put all your shower gels and things in. I mean, it's not waterproof, but it's a beautiful piece of storage, isn't it? Love the pink glittery. Or a gift, fill it with blackjacks and fruit salads and drumsticks. Give it to somebody. Sweeties. You could even have it on the kitchen table, couldn't you? Knives and forks. Put all your cutlery in it. Middle of the kitchen table. Don't need to lay it. Lay it yourself. Or you could put seed packets in it. But, you know, if you just want a little bit of glitter in your life, this is a great storage container. I know it's called a sewing caddy. Doesn't have to be. And then finally, for all you leopard skin lovers out, the leopard print lovers out there, again, you've got the really good solid black plastic handle, lovely leopard print, and a really nice sort of soft taupe colour and that lovely print. You've got the magnetic clasp again, and if we open it up, inside you've got storage tray with all those different 4 different compartments, all in different sizes, which is lovely, isn't it? So that you can put snap fasteners in one, you can put buttons in other, you can get a shorter pair of scissors in there, or some of your marking pens. But it's nice that they're different sizes. And then the inside is lined with this black cotton fabric. You've got a nice lace trim round there. So this is a really luxurious one, isn't it? And you can't see it very well because it's so black, but there is the same elasticated pocket that you've got on the others and the pin cushion. But for $16.99, that's incredible value, isn't it? So that really is storage in style, isn't it? Again, a brilliant gift for somebody if you fill it up. But if you're sorting out your storage, or you want to have, I mean, I have in the middle of my coffee table, I've got a pot that has scissors and pencils. It's really annoying when you're sitting in the living room and you want to do some sewing, you have to go out and get a pair of scissors, or you have to get your pins. But this, it's attractive enough to be able to display. So you can keep it in your sewing room, or if you're short of space and you don't have a sewing, this can be just the corner, can't you? You can have this on the edge of a desk or a table. But, you know, you could put it on the shelf or on the windowsill because it's attractive enough to stand alone. But we all know somebody who loves a bit of leopard skin. That's lovely, isn't it? Love that print. So, sewing machine bags. Now, it's really important that your sewing machine doesn't get dusty. That's massively important because they do, particularly if you keep it on the floor. It's the worst thing for a sewing machine is to keep it on a carpet, because the carpet attracts dust. That gets into your machine, that clogs it up. If you don't remember to clean it and oil it regularly, then it will seize up. So the simple answer is a sewing machine bag. Then you can put it where you want. This one's lovely. On the key ring, it's got a little pair of scissors. There's a pair of scissors there. So if we open it up, now this is not only for storing your machine, this is also for carrying it. So maybe you don't have a dedicated sewing space, so you need to keep it, you know, in the back bedroom, under a table or in the corner. I'll just get one of the machines and show you. We have loads of them. This one is the Experience Elna 560. So we'll put that inside. And so if you want to store it and you need to carry it around the house, or maybe you're going to workshops in the future at some point and you have to take your machine with you, what are you going to do? Put it in a, I don't know, in a IKEA bag or something? No. You're going to put it in this beautiful bag. It's got carry handles and nice. It's got a Velcro, hook and loop tape. Hook and loop tape there, so the, you know, nice handle, but that really, really solid. It's got feet on the bottom. See, there are feet on the bottom so that you can put it down. And in the front, there's a pocket, so you can put your sewing machine foot in here, or the cables for the machine, or the other stuff that you need to take. I mean, you could get the foot and the cables inside here, or keep them in here, but also you could put, you know, the other tools and things you need. But even if your sewing machine lives on a table, keep it away from dust. It's really important to service your sewing machine regularly yourself and take it to be serviced. Keep it oiled all the time, but keep the dust off it. And if you're going to do it, you may as well do it in a nice way. And this is lovely. It's quite subtle, isn't it? It'll just sit in the corner. It's quite pretty. And I love that addition of the little scissors. So if you've had a new sewing machine for Christmas, $15.99, that's an absolute bargain, isn't it? And, you know, it's really thought through. It has got the zip, so it's easy. You know, it's not just a zip across the top. So it's 32 centimetres high, that wide, 46 centimetres wide and 21 centimetres deep. But if you go onto the website, all of those measurements are on there. But it's just really nice that they've thought it through, that the zip, I mean, these zips are really expensive, aren't they? Even in themselves. And then it will all fold open, so you can easily take your machine out. Fortunately, the bag does not come with the machine. Just have to point that out. This is merely a serving suggestion. Like on the packets. We've had a message from Esther. Question. Oh, somebody else went, did you make your dress? No, I didn't, but I wish I had done, because then I could make another one, because it's really comfortable. It's got just it's really nice and loose, and it has two big pockets, both of which have a small hole in them. In fact, the dress came with a small hole in the bottom of each pocket. Strange that, isn't it? I wondered whether it was for, like, you know, when you get bags with holes for headphones. I think I might just need to mend it. But no, I didn't, which is a shame, because I'd love to have the pattern. Maybe I should take it all apart. That'd be quite annoying, wouldn't it? But it's really comfortable and really warm as well. So that's the black sewing machine bag. And this is the red sewing machine bag. It's a little bit of bright colour. So this is the same, is it exactly the same size? Is this the same size? This feels a bit bigger, actually. Again, I can show you this one properly. This has got big, fat rubber feet. This is really going to help. So this one is £12.99. It's got a really nice zip that goes all the way around. Now, if you go on the website, it'll give you all the dimensions. So this zip, again, goes all the way round. Quick demonstration. There we go. Look how easily it fits in. You know, and it will fit pretty much if you've got a massive machine, pretty most machines. Now, again, you can get the, you can put the zip, you can put the foot in there. It's a really nice canvasy type fabric, which feels sort of water resistant. I'll just turn it round because there's the pocket. So if you want, you could put the foot and the cable in the pocket, or you could put your sewing equipment. It's all lined with this grey lining, as is the actual bag itself. It's got a nice grey lining. Just depends whether you like the sort of the black with the purple trim or you want the red and the grey. But if you've got a new sewing machine for Christmas, this is ideal. And it really is important if you're going to be carrying it around, moving it around the house, or even just picking it off the floor. It's easier to do it with this. It's got the hook and loop tape carry handle, but just to pad it there. But it's really important to keep the dust off your sewing machine. And it's just attractive as well. So you can have a sewing machine cover, but this is ideal because it keeps it safe all the way around. Because a lot of us, you know, you're not going to keep your sewing machine out all the time. You can just put it in the corner. You're not going to put it back in the box, really. But don't keep it on the carpet. The terrible dust traps. Terrible. I'm just going to take the sewing machine out of the bag. Does not come with sewing machine, unfortunately. You will pick it up later and think it's empty and go, flip, that's heavy, isn't it? Right. Now let's do some little storage, baby storage and big storage. So these, I mean, they've on the picture on the front, craft storage stackers, they've got beads. So you could use them for beads, but I would use them for, I collect shirt buttons. That's two. That's what it looks like. This one's open. Before anyone throws anything out in my house, so I collect old jeans, but I also collect shirt buttons. So if there's an old shirt, I cut all the buttons off, and then I keep the fabric as well, because shirt fabric is beautiful. It's honestly like the best quality. So never let anyone throw a shirt out, because the fabric is beautiful quality. And then I always cut all the buttons off. So the ideal for buttons, or little hook and loop fasteners, or press studs, or rivets, anything that's really small and that you don't want to lose, you can just keep in here. They've all got a screw lid and they all stack. Look at the, well, no, they haven't. The top one's got a screw lid, but they all stack. There we go. Got 5 of them. But that's a for £3.99, it's just a really good way. Or just those little bits that you're not really sure what to do with and they get lost. Or you can even put, you know, individual sewing machine feet in there. But, you know, I would buy more than one of those because you can really store things in there. Or, you know, when you get sort of extra D-rings or toggle clasps, because they're see-through, perfect. You can see immediately on your shelves. So if you've got more than one of them, you know, you look at all of the different things, you'd soon be able to see. And you don't have to open from the top. You can go, oh, I'll need what's in number 4. So you just open what's in number 4 and put it back on again. Or you could have them all on your desk. So they're ideal for all sorts of things. 1 P&P, remember that though. So, you know, it's once you've bought one thing, your P&P's done. Or you obviously, in the picture here, they've got sequins and beads. So all sorts of things. But I would use them for shirt buttons and hook and loop fasteners. And because they're see-through, they're easy peasy to see. Really, really inexpensive way of storing things. Oh, we've had a message from Pam about these. The clear one. Oh, sorry, yes. Yeah, where's that gone? Oh, there it is. Right in front of me. Morning, Rebecca. I have 6 of the Millwood spool storage boxes. Most are nearly full, so I bought 3 more. When I purchased the Gutermann 48 thread tin, my intention was to put those in the spares, but I like the tin too much to do that. I mean, they are great, aren't they? Because they just, I was surprised because I have mine on a wooden storage stand. I was surprised actually how much thread I had. I didn't realise I had so much. But it's just a really nice way because you can stack it all. You can see immediately, and you know, you're more likely to actually go through and take what you need, aren't you, if you've got it in there. So thank you for the message. Oh, we've got we have a room in the office that's for our guests who come on in. We've got this massive box just full of thread. It's really messy, isn't it? I tried to find something the other day. We ought to put it all in these boxes, because it takes ages to find it. You rummage through and it's all tangled up as well, so you end up wasting thread. What should we move on to next? Well, we've got a nice bag. We'll do the Gutermann threads, and then I'm going to go on, because I quite like the look of that bag there. We'll go on to that next. Nice tin, nice tin. Picture the Gutermann factory. No, you think you're going to use the tin for something else. This has been really popular, so I'm just recapping it for you. £59.99, that works out at £1.20 per spool. Did you get a Sewing Street gift voucher for Christmas maybe? Could you use it for this? A £1.20 spool. We all know that's a stool for really good value. 100 metres, Gutermann thread. This is their, I think it's their all-purpose thread. Yeah, it's the Gutermann all-purpose thread, 100% polyester, which means it's really strong, and you know the Gutermann's really good quality. All the colours you'll need. It's even got the denim blues, really good if you're hemming your jeans, and the navy. And it's got two navies. I like that, because navy isn't just navy. You've got that really deep midnight navy and that more ocean navy. Same as that navy we had in the last hour with Cara's butterfly fabric. But that's just really good value. You're never going to go out and buy all of these, and how would you choose? Because there's hundreds of them, but they've selected these for you, so they're just the right colours. And if you want to restock them, they've got the colour number on there as well. So black is 000. Who knew? Who knew? Yeah, but white is 111 or 800, strangely. 800 is bright white and 111 is just slightly off-white. Should we have a little guess? What colour number do you think mint green is? No, 152. Oh, 152. 152. And bright yellow, 417. There we go. Who knew? So if you want to replace it, then the colour number is on there. It's a game. It's a game. Game for the whole family. You can sit there going, go on then, guess. Go on, guess. What colour do you think bright pink is? No, 733. Prize for anyone who gets it within 5. So that's lovely. But I'm going to do this bag next because I really like this. Well, I like this because it makes me think knitting. Obviously, you can use it for all sorts. It's actually quite good for things like fat quarters or a bag of wadding. Magic. So let's take the bag of wadding. It doesn't come with that. It doesn't come with the bag of soft toy stuffing. So it's got a line, it's cotton, and it's got a lined and quilted interior. It's got wooden handles. And it's got this really lovely bunting design on it with a few Union Jacks, a bit sort of cottage fate, country fate. Union Jacks, floral. And the background of this, I don't know whether you can see, is a really very pale, like a Jersey cream, but it's got spots on. Don't know whether you can see that, but it's got spots on. And the bunting goes all the way round. And then you've got this nice, the zip is good because it opens, the zip, once you've got the zip open, it doesn't interfere with the insides because the zip goes round to the side. So it fully opens. And it's quilted and it's got a solid base that's sewn in. So it will really stand up. So it's ideal for fabric storage or, well, like things like wadding or toy stuffing, but it'd be really good for storing your yarn as well because it's got these nice wooden handles. But again, I would use this for the project I've got on the go at the moment. So the one you know that you're doing and you need to pack away at the end of every evening, maybe you're doing something where you're sitting in the living room doing it, you can pop it all in there, zip it up, it's down the side of the settee, looks neat. So for £19.99, again, brilliant gift. Maybe you've bought somebody a kit. Whether that's a sewing kit or a knitting kit or a crochet kit, buy this, put it in there, lovely. Lovely. And that's really nice and it's very pretty. Oh, we had a message from Joanne. Thread bingo. Oh, I did used to love thread bingo. That was great, wasn't it? Oh, loved it. We're going to do the scissor rack next. Now, I need one of these. I keep my scissors in a mug, which is really silly. It's quite a big mug, but this is just lovely because it turns round. I would like this because it'd make me feel like I was in a shop. And again, it's ridiculous, isn't it? When I was having a bit of a clear up, I didn't realise how many scissors I had. And if it'd been anything else, I thought, well, I've got 3 of those, I'll throw them out. But you can't throw scissors out, so I've just got loads of them. But then I do use them for different things. So I've got beautiful dressmaking shears like this. And I've got 2 pairs of them, to be fair. I've got pinking shears, like that. I've got fab paper scissors, obviously, because we can't use them. And I've got sticky scissors. So when you've used scissors and you've cut maybe double-sided tape or something that's slightly sticky and you want to use it for other things, but you don't want to ever use them again for anything, then you have scissors that are slightly sticky. Lovely red scissors. You can even, so you've got the higher ones in the middle. You can put shorter scissors in there, little snips, all different sorts. But you could also use it for, I've got one that has like my pointy tool, turny tools in it. But I would really like one of these because it just makes you feel a bit professional. $18.99, solid wood. You know, it's solid wood, so it's really lovely. This isn't plastic, this is wood. And you can get, I'm going to count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. There are 18 holes. So you get all sorts in here. That's fantastic, isn't it? So for $18.99, oh look, I've just read on screen, holds 18 scissors. Didn't notice that. I enjoyed the counting, and it has got a lovely. So it's got the plastic turntable on the bottom, so it won't damage your table. It's like a Lazy Susan, isn't it? Except you can't put your dips on it. Just a nice thing, but you know, you could use it for pencils and pens as well. You could put all your pencils and your pens in your iron finger. Or I wonder if it fits. I'm just gonna have a little look here, whether it'll fit. Yes, so you could put your stitch ripper in. You could put your pens and pencils, depending on how high they are. But look, you can get your Sharpies in there. So you could have your transfer pencils in the centre, your scissors around the outside. Doesn't use up too much space, but it's nice when storage is attractive, isn't it? You could use, whoa, what are these? Scissors with a tape measure. These are clever, aren't they? These aren't off at the moment, but they're very nice. Do you think they're on the website? That's amazing. I'm going to put them in there as well, I like them. Anyway. Just found those. I hadn't seen those before. Scissors with a tape measure. That's a great thing. So again, you know, that would be something nice to have on your sewing table. So on my sewing table, I have my machine and I have 2 mugs, one with scissors and one with transfer pencils in. But I need one of these, don't I? Think I might have to buy one of them. Ruler holder. Ruler holder, which is, and I'm going to have to move around. One moment. My arms aren't long enough. So this, have I got any rulers? They're behind you. They're behind you. It's like I'm on a pantomime. They're behind you. So if, like me, you've got several rulers for your rotary cutting, I tend to keep mine flat on my desk, but then they're in the way and then I have to put them on the floor. But you can keep them. Quite one of these as well. Wish I'd been bought a Sewing Street voucher for Christmas. Because mine normally live on the table, but you can have them all there. Should we get another one? Or maybe I need a hanging rack. Oh, I'm not going to get that one's not very easy to get out. I'd have to move the thing and then everything will fall over. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 holes to keep all of your rulers in. You can get some quite big ones in there as well. But it's just one of those things where how else do you store your rulers? And it only uses up, so rather than having them all flat on the table, it uses up just this space. It doesn't matter about the height, does it? It's this space that counts. It's only $10.99. Solid beech wood ruler rack with 4 slots. you know, because also by keeping them like this, they last, they're not going to get broken or cracked or stood on. They're just nice. And look, doesn't it go beautifully? With the scissor holder. It's nice, isn't it? I like that. Very nice. And we've also got quilt hangers. Now, quilts are not just for beds. Remember, quilts are also for hanging on the wall. And it's always difficult once you've made a quilt to think, I don't know how to hang this. I'm not really sure how to. I've got a wall hanging that I've made, a fabric one. So it's not just quilts, but any fabric wall hangers. And it's really hard. I put some wood in it, and then I didn't, even though I'd put the dowel in the top, I still wasn't absolutely sure how to hang it. These are perfect because they've got marbles in them, which I'm not going to be able to show you, but there's a marble in there. And what happens is you put the fabric up inside this slot, and the marble traps it, which is really clever. Just because it's hard to show you, but there's a slot inside this section, and there's a marble in between, and so the quilt will slip through that, and then it will hold it up. So what you do is, see on the back of here, there's a little thing. So you put the screw in the wall, 2 screws, one for one for the other, and then you can just slot that over the screw. And then, and it's really easy ways, it means you can take, your quilt isn't fixed. It's just pushed up inside, and it's trapped between the marble and the back. And they really do work. And there's 2 in a pack, but obviously if you've got a really big quilt, you might need 4. I would say, you know, for about that big would 2, but you might need another one in the middle. So it's worth buying a couple of packs, only £10.99 each, but they are beautiful. And I've seen these, we had them on Sewing Quarter actually. We used to hang up really big quilts because we always had them fixed. But they're just lovely. They're sort of attractive as well. So if you want to hang up a quilt, but you know that you might change it and you don't want to put fixings in, perfect. These are perfect. The Clover hand sewing needle dome. This is great, this is. So if you're working on a project and you want to thread all your needles in advance, so for example, you know, threading needles is not the easiest thing and you need daylight to do it, or you want to do all the threading and then just get on with the sewing in the evening, whether it's hand sewing, or maybe you're doing cross stitch and you want to thread up, say 10 or 20 different colours. Or if you want get someone else to do the threading for you, you can get them to fill it in. So what you do is you thread your needle and then you pop it in the little slot like this, and then you turn it round. The thread, you can see, gets caught through that slot there, and as you turn it round, it winds it up, and it's magically somehow stores it all inside, and it doesn't all get knotted. So if you wanted to thread up, how many do you get? How many does it go in? I think it might be 10. So if you want to thread up 10 needles and then not all get tangled, or say you're going away, you're going on holiday and you're taking some needles with you, they won't poke through. That just keeps it really, really safe, and it neatly stores them all away, and they're threaded at the same time, which is great. If you just think, well, I just want to do, I hate threading needles, I'll do it all at once, or I'll do it in the daylight, or I'll get someone else to do them for me. Or a nice gift for somebody, buy them this with all, you know, all threaded with different colours. You know, if you get the Gutermann thread and the dome threaded needle case, it's just one of those things. It's just it's a really useful way of storing your thread and your needles. I can't get that back on either. This is lovely. I really, every time we do this, I say, I really, really want one of these. This is great. So it's a mini iron. I mean, you know, you can use it as a travel iron if you want. You know, when you go to a hotel, the iron's always rubbish, isn't it? Always rubbish. Or if you buy a travel iron, they're always rubbish. But this is a steam. This is steam. It's got a tiny little tank to put your water in. And it does actually come with a little jug to pour it in, and a little bag to store it in. But it works in exactly the same way as a proper iron. So you can use it for travel. If you're going away, you can use it for workshops. You know what it's like when you're at a workshop. Everyone's queuing up to use the iron. You've brought your own with you. Ha! But it's also really useful that the best way to get a professional finish to your sewing is to press, sew press. Even if you've sewn a seam and you're not even pressing it open, press the seam. It sets the stitches. When you sew through fabric, the movement of the needle and the thread through the fabric distorts the threads and the fibres. Press it, puts it all back together and seals it. Even if you're, oh look, the water's coming out now, I've taken the lid off the little tank. Even if you're pressing a seam open, press it flat first, then press it open. So we often, you know, you're sewing something, you can't be bothered to keep getting up and getting down. So if you've got one of the pressing mats, which we do sell on the website too, the quilter's cut and press, or, you know, if you've got something else, you have that beside you on the sewing machine, you can just quickly use this iron because it works in exactly the same way as a fully functioning proper steam iron, but it's just a baby instead. It's lovely. I really, really want one of these. Comes with a proper UK plug, really nice proper cord. So it's not, you can use it for travel, but don't think of it as one of those travel irons that are truly rubbish. This is a proper steam iron, but is brilliant because it works properly. And you can use it on your holidays and you can use it for your sewing as well. And all the water's coming out because I took the lid off the tank. It's a bit silly, wasn't it? Yes. Let's take this, the wadding out of my favourite craft bag. So this is soft toy filling, but it is made from plastic bottles. But it's weird because I would have said it feels like wool. It's really soft and springy. It's not clumpy either. So I know when you stuff something, you should always separate slightly like that. But it actually isn't clumpy at all. But it is made, I used to be a plastic bottle. So that's great, isn't it? Because, you know, you have all of these plastic bottles and we're all really good at recycling. Think, wonder what they do with them all. But someone's thought to do this. But you can use it for soft toys, for cushions, pin cushions. You know, maybe part of your New Year's resolution is you're going to be a bit more recycle, eco-friendly, conscious. Then start with your soft toy filling, because it's amazing that it's made from plastic bottles actually, because it is really soft. It feels like wool. So how it's made from plastic bottles, I have no idea. Whenever we have Helen from Woolly Chic on Yarn Lane, she always uses this in her kits because it is just a bit kinder to the environment. So that's lovely. And we have recycled pellets. Doesn't come in this pot. That's just where they are. So these are for, maybe you want to fill your doorstop. Give it a little bit of weight. Or fill in part of, you know, maybe you're making one of those like a beanie animal, or you're making a bean bag, or a little person like a gnome or something. You just want to fill his feet, or it's just the hands or part of him. Well, this is lovely. So instead of using gravel or beans or something, these pellets are lovely because they're very smooth, so they're very flexible. They're perfect for those beanie type things. But they're nice and heavy as well. So you could use them in a pin cushion to give it a bit of weight. Or if you're using fabric weights and you want to make it, it's perfect for that. But they're recycled. Recycled polystyrene pellets. A kilo is about the right weight for a doorstop. Doorstops are pretty much all the same size. What I would do is, if you're filling it in a doorstop, make a little fabric bag to put them in and then put that inside. But a kilo is enough to hold a door open. But they're recycled. And because they're very small, they're a little bit more forgiving. Sometimes I filled my doorstops with gravel off my front path and it's just too big. These are perfect. But you know, because they're recycled, that you're not just wasting plastic. They're actually something that's been used before. So a kilo is enough for a doorstop. But honestly, for bean bags or for soft toys, if you put these in the hands and the feet, I mean, obviously do think about, you know, the age of the child. You don't really want these for under 3s at all. So do think about that. But put them in a bag before. But they are very small. They're about the size of 2 grains of rice together. 2 grains of rice together is probably the size of one. I honestly cannot think. Actually, if you know those Million sweets, that's what they're the size of. Don't eat them though. Although you're getting a kilogram, you'll still only pay the £3.95 postage. We don't charge you extra because they're quite heavy, but that's what they look like. So those are really nice. Whoa, that's the end of the hour. Where did that go? So I will, in a couple of minutes, we've got Cara back who's going to do Sashiko. If you've never tried Sashiko before and thought, what is that? I've heard of it. It's hand embroidery. It's really lovely. It's a really meditative, repetitive task. Beautiful. And she's going to show you some fabrics, some threads, how to do it. If you've done Sashiko before, we've got some lovely panels. You'll really enjoy this. So go make yourself a cup of tea and I will see you in a couple of minutes.
If you'd like to get in touch with us during our live show and send in any messages or any questions, then you can do it on studio@sewingstreet.com. Alternatively, you can message us on our official Facebook page.
Hi, I'm Claire from Knitted Critters, and we would like to say Merry Christmas to everyone at Sewing Street and Yarn Lane.
Hi everyone, Delphine here. Just want to wish you all a Merry Christmas. I've had a fantastic year here at Sewing Street and I can't wait for 2021 to bring you lots of new projects. I can't wait to see what you've been doing. Anyway, have a fantastic Christmas and a great new year and I'll see you soon.
Hello, I'm Susie Duncan and I'd like to wish all of the Sewing Street family a very happy Christmas and I'm looking forward to seeing you again in the new year.
Hello, I'm Emma Bradford. I just want to wish everybody at Sewing Street and at Yarn Lane a very happy Christmas.
Hello, I'm Kerry from Living in Loveliness and I'd like to wish everybody from the Sewing Street family a very Merry Christmas and a wonderful New Year. Lots of love, Kerry.
Hello everyone, my name's Cara Ackerman and I'm absolutely delighted to be here at Sewing Street. I actually originated from Hertfordshire, then went down to Hampshire and then it ended up in the East Midlands. I've been in the East Midlands for about 40 years now, which seems crazy, but 36 of those I actually worked with DMC Creative World, which was wonderful. I really, really enjoyed that. And then I decided to go freelance and that's how I got introduced to Sewing Street. I love doing anything to do with textiles, so embroidery, cross stitch, patchwork, done a bit of quilting, bag making, toy making, oh goodness, there's loads and loads of things. What I love doing is just trying something new, and I think one of the tips is don't be frightened of trying something new. You always learn from it, and you know, don't be scared of making mistakes either. We all learn from the mistakes that we make. Little bit about me that you might not know and that's a bit of a surprise. I once went to the garden party down at Buckingham Palace, the Queen's Garden Party, for some work that I did with Marie Curie. I was so lucky to go there and just a wonderful time. So I hope to see more of you on Sewing Street and I hope to try lots of new crafts with you. So see you again soon. Bye-bye.
If you'd like to get in touch with us during our live show and send in any messages or any questions, then you can do it on studio@sewingstreet.com. Alternatively, you can message us on our official Facebook page.
Oh, welcome back to Sewing Street. So we had some great stuff so far, some really lovely projects. Anyway, we've got Cara back in this hour for Sashiko. So we've learned bag making with her at 8 o'clock. We're now going on to hand embroidery. I love Sashiko. It's a really lovely stitching technique, which has got goes back really far in history. Japanese, comes from the Japanese. And the point of Sashiko, it means little stab, I think. I'm going to start with the book because Susan Briscoe is honestly the UK expert on Sashiko. It's a Japanese sewing technique, which, as I said, it means little stab. or little stitch, a little stab. And it's just tiny little running stitches, that's all it is. But it does have very specific fabrics and threads that you use to get exactly the right look and feel to sort of recreate the way that Sashiko was done originally. And it always looks really difficult and really intricate, but it's actually very simple because all it uses is running stitch. Now this book, if you're interested in Sashiko, you need to buy this book. It's, wow, $11.99, and it has everything you need to know. I was lucky enough to have a show where Susan Briscoe was on, and we went through the whole thing, but this tells you, well, about the history behind it, which is always very interesting, about why did Sashiko first originate. And it was done so that they could make clothes for people who worked in the fields just a bit stronger by adding extra stitches, but then it became more decorative, and then it was used by the sort of Japanese royal families as well. But it tells you how it all worked. And traditionally Sashiko was done in indigo and white, so the fabric was indigo and the stitching was white, but as time has gone on they use other colours of fabrics and other threads. So to create the right look for Sashiko, there are specific needles and threads to use, which we have today. We've got all of the bundles with the right threads, the right needles, and then you'll create the same look. You can do it with other fabrics and threads, but if you want to recreate and get the look of Sashiko, it's best to use the right thing. So all the tools and materials are in here. How to mark the fabric, because obviously you've got to mark the pattern onto the fabric before you start. Goes through all of that, what sort of marking pencils. Then it talks about the techniques and the grids. So the way that Sashiko is done, which Cara's going to explain to us soon, is that it's done in an order so that you don't have to keep crossing over on the back and working back on yourself. A bit like, you know, when you do free motion quilting, where you don't want to keep quilting back over the same line, so you do it in a specific order, and that's the way, because it is only running stitch, that's it. But if you do it in a special order, you don't have to keep working back on yourself. It tells you everything you need to know, starting and finishing, tacking, how to do the sewing. Then it gives you some ideas of what you can do. So you could start off with just little pictures. So because we're all going to start something new, Cara's going to do a bit more dressmaking. I'm going to do a bit more sewing. You might want to have a go at Sashiko, have a start. So there's all different sorts of projects. You've got cards, samplers, coasters, table mats. Susan Briscoe has spent years and years researching Sashiko. She spends a lot of time in Japan, and she really knows everything about it, and she's just fantastic. And this book is just packed full of information. I mean, these cushions are beautiful. You'll often see quite modern versions of it now. A lot of people are doing Sashiko on clothing, on their denim jacket, on their jeans, just on the pocket, or because originally it was used for mending and decoration, but it has become, so maybe you've bought yourself a denim dress or one of those denim tunics, you can work Sashiko around the bottom of it, and suddenly it's worth £50 more than it was when you bought it. You can use it with different sorts of fabrics, make it into bags, make it checked ones. I love the checked tote bag with all these different patterns, because then she shows you how to use different coloured threads as well, which makes it even more interesting. But you learn all the techniques, and then from there you can create projects as well. Now Sashiko traditionally as well uses fabrics, Japanese fabrics, for using around them. So say you're making a cushion, then there are very traditional Japanese patterns and fabrics that you use. We've also got those on the show, and these she uses in these cushions as well. So when you look at some of these cushions, so like this table runner, uses a Japanese fabric round it, and she works Sashiko down the centre, but also embellishes the striped fabric with it as well. You can make beautiful samplers, do a square of all of these different colours. And then she uses different colour threads. And what I like about the book is she shows in the diagram, she'll put the arrows on using different colours. So at the back, you've got like a library of stitches. And the arrows, in order so that you're not working back on yourself, tells you what order to work them in, because it is only running stitch. And there's all different sections. How it's not just straight lines. There are circles and curves. There are angles and stars, all different sorts. And these are all work. She's shown these, like this one here. You wouldn't traditionally work in these colours, but she's shown you it like that so you can see what order you're stitching in, because they're done in the right colours. So it's so easy to understand. And if you've never tried it, this really is a great starting point. So like this waves, you can see from here, right, first you draw the waves on, and then what order do you do them? So you do all the red lines first, then you do the green lines. and it explains all of the different types of curves that you can create. So very popular. We are down to single figures on this book now, so if you want it, do put it in your basket and check out. It's only $11.99, and look, I mean, I haven't finished yet, I'm still going. Look at all of this. So you've got the tools, the techniques, you've got project ideas, and then you've got all the patterns, loads and loads and loads of different patterns. I like the hexagons. It's really lovely, isn't it? Kanji, which is the Japanese and the Chinese characters, Ackerman, which is the family crests, all these different motifs, different stitches. There's just so much here. This is your whole Sashiko journey. And I like the way she's put in traditional ones as well. So you can look at these traditional samplers and copy them. Have a bit of, make it your own, and clothing as well. So we've put some bundles together for you. So on these, in these bundles, these are designed by Susan Briscoe. The patterns are already printed onto the fabric to make it easier for you, so you don't have to do the marking yourself. And then they wash out. So do not wash it first. If you wash this first, you'll lose it. So on the panel, shall we open one of them up and show you what you get in the panel? Because these panels are the same. Same sort of idea, they're just different patterns and different colourways. So you get camel, which are the different sort of symbols and crests, or you get the geometric. So this one is the geometric one. So I'm just going to show you what one looks like. And they come in different colourways. So this is like a denim-y blue colour. Not a real indigo blue, but a denim-y blue colour. So let me open it out so you can see it's 100% cotton. So in the kit, you get the panel, but you also get 3 skeins of the proper Sashiko thread. It's different. It's not like stranded cotton that's divisible. You just use it as it is. And you can see this is obviously Japanese. You can see all the writing on it. So this is the absolute traditional. This is thread that you need. These are designed by Susan Briscoe for Olympus thread, which are made in Japan. Now it's really important. The marks disappear when washed, so do not wash them first, or you'll get it out of the machine and you've lost it. But my favourites, you've got, with this one, you've got a plain grey, but then you've got a variegated blue and purple and red, and a variegated sort of turquoisey colour. So as you sew, the thread changes colour, so it looks like you've changed the colour yourself, but you haven't. And you can see in Cara's cushion there in the picture, she's used this thread, how the thread will change colour. But it's like, by buying these, this is really your starter pack. So the book will tell you exactly how to do it, but this is all pre-marked. It is what the Japanese people use to do it. It's absolutely original tradition, is what you need, and you've got the thread as well. So on these panels, you can do what you like with them. You could make little coasters from the square ones. From the bigger ones, you could make cushions, or you could make tote bags. You could use them in quilts. So you could embroider the Sashiko and then put it within a quilt. You could cut out these squares and join them all together and make a bag just from the squares. So there's a lot of different things you can do. That loads of inspiration in the book. But I always think if you're starting a new hobby and a new technique, use the right stuff. It just makes it easier. And, you know, it's very simple because all the individual running stitches are marked on here. So it's very, very simple to do. So that's one of the bundles. And I'm not going to open up the others because you just need to see what it looks like in there. So the panel is 108 centimetres by 61 centimetres, in case you need to know. So that's that panel. No, let's not mix them up. The red is beautiful. It's a really rich, like red wine red. And then, but the colours that with it, so these are the camel, which are the different sort of family crests, but they all have like usually different elements of nature. So there's one with a bat, flowers, there's a bee, cherry blossom, obviously very traditional, but they're all different family crests. And then down the centre you've got the coasters that are sort of slightly more geometric, and then with the the Japanese symbols as well. With this one you get the 3 skeins, but you've got a really sort of golden yellow, a lovely buttermilk cream, and then a pumpkin orange, and that really will stand out on that red. But that's a beautiful wine red colour. With this blue panel, which is a darker blue than the other one. This is more of a navy blue. This is your indigo. This is your more traditional Sashiko. Again, you've got, this is geometric. You've got curves as well as straight lines. You've got the lovely sort of star effect, and then you've got the coasters down the middle with leaves and curves, all different sorts of patterns. That's almost like this one here. Is like the double wedding ring quilt pattern. Exactly the same. With this one, you've got that the same bundle. You've got that sort of really bright, like daffodil yellow, buttermilk cream, and like a pumpkin orange. So that really will stand out. And the final panel I've got is this one, and again, this is the Camon Crest, but this is a lovely sort of rich, sort of browny grey colour. Very subtle and warm, quite earthy. But the colours, you get 3 variegated threads with this. So a sort of a bluey orangey thread. You've got shades of red and green, and then you've got shades of brown. So they are really subtle and earthy tones. And those are the 3 bundles. Now, you might need, well, you will need Sashiko needles to get you going, which are not on my desk. I have got thread. We'll just show you on the screen because I haven't got them on my desk. We'll find them in a minute. You need very specific needles for Sashiko because it's running stitch and you work several stitches on your needle at a time. Cara will explain all that to you in a minute. But there's the needles, $5.99 for a pack of 8, which gives you 4 different sizes, $5.99, but that will make a big difference. Then you can use the right thread. The thread will fit through the eye of the needle and you'll be able to work the stitches with it. We've also got a single skein of thread if you want just the blue. There's 40 meters on there for $4.99, and that is exactly the thread you need in a navy color. And then we have got these Japanese fabrics by the ½ meter, and remember I showed you in the book that when you're creating things then from the panel, if you want to border it and make it into a cushion or a bag or a placemat, then these are the traditional Japanese fabric. So starting with this one, the top one. This is called Blue Rainbow. I'm not sure why, because there's nothing rainbow about it, but it is blue. But this is one of the really traditional Sashiko patterns. So you could stitch something in this pattern and then it will be echoed in the fabric as well. But just to back, it's beautiful. I mean, it is a beautiful fabric, isn't it? So this is available by the ½ meter. Remember, we cut to order. So if you want more than ½ meter, we will cut it as that. So if you want 4 meters, put 8 in the basket, we will cut you a 4 meter length. So this is perfect for teaming with your Sashiko, or if you just want to use it in a quilt. It is that lovely pattern and it's a beautiful quality. Look how it's just solid blue on one side and then printed on the other. It's a beautiful quality Japanese cotton fabric. And if you buy quilting fabric, you will know what quality the Japanese fabric is. We've also got 2 of the striped fabrics. Shimumen. So we've got the one that's like a denim blue with a tomato red and a mustard and grey background. This is perfect. It's got a real slub to it. It's the way that it's woven. It has black threads going one way and the coloured threads go the other, so that you can see that kind of black fleck in it. But it is, you know, if you want to create something Sashiko and you make it very traditional. But, you know, you could also use it. A lot of people, I know Susan uses it in her quilts as well, with nothing to do with Sashiko, but just use it as the fabric itself. And it's available in this blue colour and it's available in this purple. Now, if you were bordering something and putting mitered corners, you can really get these stripes to match up beautifully. This one is called Slate Russet Purple Grey. So it's like an aubergine purple, a deep burnt orange, and then you've got a stripe of a sage green, and then you've got the grey and the black. But again, you've got the black thread that goes one way and then all the other threads go the other way, so you do get these sort of odd black flecks. But this really is, I mean, it's beautiful to put with your Sashiko. It's very nice on its own as well, actually. And then finally, this is lovely. I love this one. This is like a bark cloth. It's got a real texture to it. And it's £6.99 for half a metre, but it's all waves, isn't it? It's lovely. You've got all real you can really feel the movement, and you can't, if I show the back of it, you'll see the weave of the fabric, because it is like a bark cloth. You can't see it from the front, but it has this real texture to it. So it feels lovely. It's very lovely. This is brand new today. And it's got these lovely swirls of blue, and then all the waves have got slight sort of gold, deep gold colour. But this is lovely for dressmaking because it's got a little bit of weight for it. Really nice for sort of a tunic style dress or a pinafore because it has got a bit of weight. I've made a dress from bark cloth and it has got a lovely weight to it. Really, it flows well and it sits nice. It doesn't crease so much. But that's beautiful, isn't it? But again, use it with your Sashiko. It's available by the half metre, but as I said before, all our fabric is cut to order. So if you want more than a half metre, you will get it as a continuous piece. So yeah, the poor warehouse, they've got a couple of days off, but they are back between Christmas and New Year. So we're not shut until the 4th of Jan like everybody else. And then finally, when I've just fold that one up, good folding. And then we've got Susan Briscoe's Simple Sashiko book. So the ultimate book is more your sort of your introductory, your textbook, how to do it. I mean, it has got projects in it, but it is your real how to and your directory of stitches. This is 8 Sashiko sewing projects for the modern home. So if you want some inspiration about what project, I mean, it does have introductory stuff. You can buy it as a standalone. It doesn't have as much information as the ultimate Sashiko source book, but it's got enough to get you going, to show you how to mark and how to do the basic stitches. It's just that the ultimate one has got more information. But this is a great, you know, for £6.99, this is great for beginners, and it's got some lovely projects. You know, that's a really simple tote book, but look how stunning it looks. Just a little bit of Sashiko stitching. But all the information about actually making the bag is in there. Greetings cards, that's lovely, isn't it? What a nice thing. Can you imagine, get you started on your Christmas cards for next year. I love the blue sampler cushion. That's absolutely beautiful, isn't it? That would just look lovely anywhere in your home, particularly the kitchen. But that one's done with a coloured thread. I really like that, so pretty. Table mats, coasters. The maple leaf is one of the big symbols of Japanese culture, and it's used lots and lots in Sashiko. Table mat, coasters, lots of little coasters. I love the pocket hanging. That's using the really nice curved pieces. So there's ideas of what you can do. So just a very simple book, and it does have the techniques, just not as much as you get in. But it's nice, isn't it? Why not frame it? You don't always have to make your stitching into an item. Use it in wall art. I mean, originally it was used to strengthen and repair clothes. Now it's all sorts of things. But for beautiful piece of wall art, everyone who comes into your home will look at that. It's just lovely, isn't it? And I do like the wall hanging as well, because it's almost like a sampler thing. It's using loads and loads of different stitches in the fabrics. This is the book that Cara has used for her project. Anyway, so that's all the project. We've done that. Let's go over to Cara. So, Cara, you're a bit of a Sashiko expert now, aren't you?
Oh, I don't know about that. I've only been doing it for about a year, but I
you've
love
done a lot.
it. I have done a lot
lots.
because it's so simple. It's so easy for people to do. You know, it's really good to sort of as an introduction to hand sewing. Because it isn't hard to do. So
it looks really clever though, doesn't it?
It looks so effective, and I absolutely love the colour, the different colours in the threads. You know, I've used that particular, you know, the variegated.
Yes.
The blue one for the actual cushion, the centre of the cushion.
Oh, that's the one in this. That's in this pack here,
yes.
isn't it?
What I'll do is I'll bring that over. So
yes,
you
so
can
that's
see
the pack that Cara's used.
Yeah, so you can see this uses the variegated
that's the
thread.
turquoise one.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the turquoise one. So that's that one.
And you've plaited yours?
Yes, I'm going to show you how to
Okay.
get started, just how to keep your threads and everything, and it just keeps everything neat and tidy, and you haven't got to keep on.
Yeah, because they're skeins, they get knotted.
It's a little bit like the pearl cotton.
Right.
Because it's a skein like that, but I'm going to show you how to do that. But I do love trying different colours. A lot of the Sashiko that I've done before has been traditional with the cream or the navy, but it is lovely to see it.
Well,
you
it's
know,
a
with
very
different...
subtle colour change as well, isn't it? It's not
It
suddenly
is.
changing from one to another.
No, no. I mean, this was one of the other panels from that particular set that I started, and you can see we've gone from the blue here to the purple, and then you'll end up on the pink. But you can see this particular panel itself, this particular design, is just so easy. It's just running stitch over and under, over and under. And you've got the lines already there. You don't have to be too accurate. You try to do your best.
Do you use a hoop for working like
No,
normal
not at
embroidery?
all. No,
Oh, okay.
no. And also, you tie a knot in the end, which for hand, I know.
Lots of no hoops. Scary.
No hoops, no, yeah. But having said that, I did actually sort of suggest that some of these panels would look gorgeous if they were stitched and in a hoop.
Oh,
when it's
hoop
finished.
for framing.
Yes.
Like trendy, very trendy wall art.
Yes,
Isn't
would be
it?
really,
Use a
really
hoop.
nice to sort of
Probably
have
like
a
the
hoop.
cheapest way that you can frame something.
Definitely, definitely. And you imagine doing a few of those and actually putting them in a hoop and then hanging them on the wall. It'd be really, really
I like
nice.
that colour. That's one of that part, the red.
Yes.
Like, it is like red wine, isn't it?
It is. It is like a burgundy or a good Merlot.
Oh, I've got the Sashiko needles now. Oh, okay. Gosh, they're very long, aren't they?
They are, and there is a reason for that, which I will come on to.
Because that's strange, because quilting needles betweens are really short, which you do running stitch.
Yes.
But these are really long.
Yes.
Okay. So why is that?
Right, well, I'll get started with the threads first,
Right,
and then we'll
okay.
talk about
And
the
then we'll talk
stitching
about
when we can
needles.
start. So this is how your threads will arrive. So they'll be in the pack. They have got a label on the outside. The most important thing for you is the number. So if you want to repeat that number,
Okay,
you
so
know, you can
keep
get
the
that.
label.
Keep the label. It's always good to have the label. And then you'll take this out of the pack. Yeah. And I'll show you.
Beautiful, isn't it? It's like a daffodil.
Oh, it's
That sort of
gorgeous.
really all depth of
Absolutely
yellow,
gorgeous.
isn't it?
Yeah.
It's very strong.
So you can take your label off, and very, very carefully, you want to actually try and get into the skein, and you can see how that has been wound. So it's wound on there, and these are 100% cotton threads. They have a twist on them, so they're very, very strong for doing the Sashiko, for doing lots of stitches. And there's no mercerisation as far as I know, so there's no extra shine to it.
No, it's very matte, isn't
Yes,
it?
it is
lovely.
very
It's a
matte.
bit like
A
cotton brode,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Snap.
Snap. We obviously know thread. So I love cotton brode. It's
I
very
do.
similar to that.
Yes,
isn't it?
I do. So that's the actual full length that you've got. And what you'll do, and this is the scary bit, is where the knot is, you cut. Okay? I know, it's like, ooh.
Scary.
So you've actually separated that length, and that length is really good for stitching.
So you don't have to keep cutting bits. You know it's the right length.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Liking that.
So then what you'll do, and what I've done with these ones, is I've actually popped the label, popped the thread through the label, and wanted about halfway, whoops, like that. And then what we're going to do is just plait. So roughly divide it into 3, and you want to do a loose plait.
This is really nice, isn't it? This is like your sort of preparation.
It
So
is.
Once you've got your kit through the post, you can sit down, get your threads sorted.
Oh, I love it, because it is, then they're already there, they're already the right length. Can't
Yeah,
plait,
it's worth
do they?
it, isn't it? It's
Yes,
worth the time.
definitely. It's all right. Struggling with plaiting. So roughly into 3.
And then just plait it.
And then just plait. So
we've had a message from Linda.
Hi, Lynn.
Lynn. So she's after some inspiration about what to do with her Sashiko panels.
Okay, we can do that. I can do that actually before I start stitching, because I think it's a very, very important thing, because you actually get 8 of the bigger panels and 8 of the little
So what
square
can you
ones.
make them into then?
So what you can make them into, I'll just finish pop that to one side because I've already got one that I prepared earlier. So what you can do is you can use the panel like that and use some of the Japanese fabric and make a cushion. I've actually backed this with the same fabric, which is really, really nice. So lots and lots of different cushions.
And is that, you can use 1/2 metre, that's enough for that?
Yep, you can definitely use that. And you can make that a bigger cushion if you want to. So that's really good. Then you can do the same technique and actually use that for the front of a tote bag, which is really good. The other one that I've got here, I've made a couple of coasters.
Oh, they're pretty, aren't they?
And that's using that lovely little rainbow.
Oh, they've got them double-sided?
Yes, yeah. And then I've just used a bit of the thread.
Put them in a hoop?
Yeah. Put the panels in a hoop. And then the last time I was on, I actually took one of the panels, which is this one. And I haven't got it here, but somewhere in the studio there is. And I actually cut and made the Sashiko panel for the front of a little clutch bag.
Beautiful, isn't it?
And what you'll do is you won't stitch the whole panel. You'll actually draw on the shape of your bag and only stitch that section. Because if you stitch the whole thing, then you put that on.
Yeah, but if you draw that on first.
Yeah, you draw that on first and your stitching is within that drawn line.
You can make like a little zip purse or a wash bag or
anything. So any bags or anything like that is really, really nice. We talked about earlier, you can do some patches onto like a denim jacket or something like that. And then for the little square ones, this was another idea for the front of a bag, was actually put them like diamond shape. So when they're stitched, you can actually put those on there and make those into a bag as well. And
so you could just sew them onto sort of calico or Osnaburg. But they would be good elbow patches as well, wouldn't they?
Yes, definitely pockets.
Pockets,
yeah.
the thing adding in the
pin
pocket.
cushions is loads and loads of different things.
You can do.
And as I say, you know, some of the ideas within here, I love this sort of where it's a wall hanging and there's lots of
really
different...
like that because there's a mixture of Sashiko and then normal fabric, isn't there?
And you can use your little panels as well for quilting.
Be nice to put it within a quilt.
Within a quilt would be lovely. Really, really nice.
It means you're not doing masses, but you can just do one little square. Hope that's helped, Lynn. Let us know what you're going to make.
I'm sure that a lot of the viewers have got lots of ideas. We'd love to see them. Love to see them.
Oh, we had a picture in a few days ago. There we are, of a Christmas tree. Oh, that's amazing,
beautiful, isn't it? Absolutely stunning.
Really stunning, isn't it? So once you get going...
Yes, the world's your oyster.
Yes, you'll have loads of thoughts. And that's the nice thing about this sort of stitching, because it gives you time to think, doesn't it?
It does, and because you're not concentrating too much on it, you still need to look, obviously. So if you're watching a television programme, you won't be able to concentrate on what's there. But if you've got other people in the room, you can chat away to them. It's not like you're thinking, hold on a minute, I've just got to concentrate. Yeah, I'm not counting. I've just got to concentrate. And you'll just sit, and it's so relaxing. It's so mindful. It really is. Yeah. You know, if you've got lots of things going on in your life and you want to sit down and relax, it really is a lovely way to do it. And for children. It's really good for children.
Yeah, because it is just running stitch.
It is. So I thought I'd just show you on one of the little panels. And what's quite good as well, Susan's books are amazing, absolutely amazing. And within here, she actually gives you ideas about tells you the best way to stitch things. So for example, I've got a few of the little panels here, and you'll notice that some of them are very similar to the ones in the book. And these are like a rice stitch. So these are where the stitches meet or cross to make a design. And it is very simple, so it is just lines. So for example, this one, I'll just show you. You want your line to follow. So you want your line to sort of keep going. And what I've done is I've come round, down, round. I'm going to come back here, so I'll do a few stitches. So you've threaded your needle.
So what's so special about this needle then?
You want the really long needle.
So we've got two different sorts here. We've got the long type and then the normal type.
So the longer the needle, the more stitches you can put on your needle. So
Right.
with the running stitch, you're following and you're actually putting the fabric onto the needle. You're not putting the needle through the fabric. So your finger and thumb on your left hand, if you're right-handed like I am, you're actually pushing the fabric onto the needle. And it's sort of that movement, so it's going over and under, over and under, and you want, or you know, it's advisable to get as many stitches as you can on your needle before you pull your needle through.
So they've got very, very sharp points, which means
They
go
have got extremely sharp points.
And also you need that bigger eye.
Yes,
to get the thread
for
through.
threading.
So that's why, I mean, it really is worth, if you're going to do Sashiko, get the right needles.
Yes, it really does help. So I've got, I don't know, about 10 different
so you
stitches
don't
on there.
rock the needle then?
You rock the fabric. Yeah.
Why is that then?
It's just easier to get the fabric onto the needle, and then make sure that your thread is untwisted, and then you'll just pull your needle through.
So that's why you don't use a hoop. You wouldn't be able to do that.
And you've done all those stitches, and it took just a
that's lovely.
a minute.
The whole row.
So then
that does yellow look stunning on
it
that.
Does.
Doesn't
It looks really, really nice. So I like it because then you're thinking, right, okay, where can I go? Where's my next stitch? So I've gone all the way around there, and I fancy you can. What I was going to do with this one was actually do the yellow for the straight lines, and then the crosses I was going to do in a different colour.
Oh, okay.
So you can play around with the colours. So if you've got the pack with the different colours, you can actually play around with it. So when you've got to where you started, I suppose, really, doesn't always have to be where you started. You'll get in your mind how you're going to do it. You can actually either finish off and start afresh, or with Sashiko, you can actually jump. So if you wanted to, you could jump on the back.
Is there a maximum length?
Yeah, I mean, that's about 3/4 of an inch.
Okay.
All the lights have gone off completely.
Really
it's a shame it's not glow in the dark thread, and then you can see
very
it.
strange, isn't it?
I can carry on stitching in the dark. They must be doing some work or something locally. I think.
Must
yeah,
it?
or the wind sort of affecting the. So, or somebody's not paid the bill.
Yeah. But then they're being kind to us, and they just turn it back on again.
Yeah. So
surprise.
Yeah. So I've just done, and you want that quite loose. You don't want to pull it. You don't want the stitches to be pulled tight. Otherwise, your fabric won't lie nice and flat. So then I'm going to come down here.
So once you've done a line, you sort of just make sure that you adjust the stitches to make sure that the fabric's flat.
Yes. And then you can come over.
Okay. I love the red fabric. Although it's not the traditional one of the indigo, but it is really lovely.
It is lovely. It really is. And I love the fact that, you know, Sashiko is very traditional. It's a very traditional technique. But I love the fact that you're sort of making it more up to date.
But what's nice is like the fact the thread looks really, really bright. But once you start sewing with it, it blends in with the fabric, doesn't it?
Yes, if you put just the yellow, that primrose colour against the red, it looks quite harsh.
Yeah.
But because you're only doing a line of stitching, it looks fine. So I've come across here, and I'm going to go all the way, all the way, all the way. Then I'm going to come up there. But a lot of it is your personal choice as well, but you'll get into, that's why Susan's book's so good. You know, she will tell you where to start and where to carry on.
So are all of these panels in her book?
There are quite a few of them.
Right.
So it does help.
So you could look at that and go, oh, I wonder where that one is.
Yes. Yeah, and there's a bit of history about them as well.
That's really nice,
you know, which is really nice. It gives you the Japanese name of it, and you know, a little bit of history behind it, which is why this book is so good. You know, if you're getting started in Sashiko and want to understand it a bit more, and as you say, I mean, I on Instagram I follow sort of people with Sashiko, And to see what people do, it's lovely. It's taking that mending and that strengthening technique and actually making it into something very special.
Yeah, it's a lovely idea that, though, is that it's used for that. And it would be good for mending your jeans, but I think that's why a lot of people do it, because you could just work a row around the bottom of your jeans.
Yes, yeah. I did one actually on the back of a jean jacket. So, oh gosh, that was lovely. You know the yoke part of the jean jacket, just over the back of that? That was really, really nice.
Oh, nice. So once you've got your pack and you've got the bundle and the threads, you can just keep going.
You can keep going. You know, I'm going to start on one of the round ones in a moment. But, so I'm just showing you what you don't want on certain parts of the Sashiko is the threads to meet. Okay, so they actually, there's no stitching where those threads are crossing. Okay, having said that, on some of the panels, you do want them to.
Oh, okay.
So you
but
do
you just
want them
follow
to meet.
the stitches are actually
Yes.
printed on here anyway.
Yes,
so
that's
you haven't
right.
got to think about length
No,
of
not
stitches.
at
Have I
all.
got it right? Because the individual stitch. But if you get it slightly off, it doesn't matter, because once you finish, you wash it.
Exactly, exactly. And it, you know, when I first started doing them, I thought, oh no, that ink's not going to come out. It's not going to come out. And it is. You know, you just pop it in warm water, just shush it around, leave it to soak for a little while, and it just disappears.
Yeah, because it does look like it's printed properly forever.
Yes. Yes, it does. And this fabric is lovely. It's got that black, either
the warp or the weft.
The warp
don't
or the
know which
weft,
one.
yeah.
But yeah, it's the same as the other fabric we're doing by the ½ metre. It has got, you can see when you look at where it's cut, it is black one way, then coloured another. So
you get that lovely, it used to be, do you remember Trevera fabric?
Yes.
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 So it's like a Trevera fabric where you've got that black thread going through.
Yeah, and that red one you've got looks really nice with this striped russet fabric, doesn't it? Well, actually, you could use it with either, couldn't you? It would look nice with the aubergine one as well. Either.
So I just wanted to show you on this one, really, the way that you're stitching. So you're actually filling in the lines as you go. So when I get to here, I'll most probably go up to there and go round and down and then up to there, and then I come across. So that's, you know, how quickly it can grow. Wow. But I wanted to show you one of the shaped panels as well. Move that to one side.
So the Ultimate Sashiko book is now sold out, unfortunately. But we will be getting more in. We will get more in, and we have still got the Simple Sashiko book, which does give you the technical information you need at the beginning. And obviously we've still got all the panels, but the Ultimate one has now sold out.
So this is one of the ones where it's not sort of geometric, it's more, there's curves and things on the actual panel. Oh, that's lovely,
isn't it? I really like that one.
So pretty.
I wonder what the symbol of that one is.
Oh, I don't know.
They all mean
have
different
on the
things.
Pack. Might say on the pack.
I wonder if it says.
So sorry, I'm just carrying on.
No, you carry on. I'm going to try and see if I can find out. Because they do all mean something.
Yes. I've made a knot in the end of my thread. I've got this lovely long Sashiko needle with the big eye. And for this particular one, I'm going to start on one of the small teardrops and then come across, do one of the large ones, come across, do one of the small ones. I also want to show you how to finish off and how you start your thread again. There are different methods, and Susan does go through the different methods in the book. And also, obviously, there's lots of shows that we've done on Sewing Street, so you can always go back.
Yeah, so if you go onto our YouTube, go to Sewing Street Sashiko on YouTube, you will find out the other programmes.
Yes.
We've got shows with Susan, with you.
Yes.
There's loads of inspiration. Once you get your pack back home and your book, then, you know, I would watch some of those because it just helps, doesn't it?
It does. And I think what's lovely, when I first started doing Sashiko, I thought I want to understand the reasons why you do certain things. So, you know, I went back and watched a lot of Susan's videos, and it's fascinating. It's absolutely fascinating to hear, you know.
Yeah, because originally she was a teacher, and then she lived in Japan for a while. I think that's how she got into it, because originally she was a quilter. I mean,
oh my gosh!
She has her quilting book. I think it's like the Quilting Encyclopedia. It is. Well, that's actually in the next hour. It's a fantastic book.
Really?
Really good. I mean, it is like everything you'd ever need to know about patchwork quilting and applique.
Oh, fantastic.
So that's how she started off.
Isn't that? I didn't know that.
Yeah, she went to Aberystwyth Uni.
Yeah.
And did textiles, and then she went to Japan, and I think somebody gave her a bag with Sashiko on it, and that was it.
It's really inspired. I love seeing.
But she's very creative and very arty, and so she's,
and I love the fact that, some of the coat of arms, it's the traditional sort of side of things as well. I'm just doing, I'm carrying on stitching.
Yeah,
but I just wanted
I
know, just carry
don't have
on.
to concentrate.
I could do this the whole day.
It's lovely.
So when you're going around a curve, it's harder to put all your stitches on the needle, or the fabric on the needle. So you do tend to, until you get a little bit more proficient, you do tend to do them just a couple of stitches at a time.
Okay.
So that's the other reason why I wanted to do this particular.
So you just do a few.
Yeah, and then when you come to a straight line, that's when you can.
Is it difficult, because normally when you do running stitch, you do move the needle. Was it difficult sort of transferring to the fabric moving to?
You can see that I'm doing the needle, and some of it I'm doing the fabric. Once you've done it for a little while, it's like, I did the samples before Christmas, so this is the first time I've picked it up since. You'll get into that habit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you'll get into that method of working.
Because I presume it's easier to do it that way.
Yes, definitely easier. So I've done one of the little teardrops there. And you can see, even if you've missed a little bit of the stitching, the lines, that will come out when you soak it.
Yeah, well, that's the good thing, is the lines are there to guide you, so help you make sure that you keep your stitches almost all the same length. But if you don't, it's not like with some embroidery transfers where you have to cover them.
No, that's right. So again, I've jumped a small area, and if you look on the back, I'm just going to leave that quite loose on the back.
Right.
And then
as long as you're not going too far, you can skip over a bit.
Yes, you don't want a really long area. So we just carry on. The other thing that is really effective is if you use 2 strands of the thread, you get it much, much thicker.
Wow.
So I'm actually, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going
to... So can you do some parts of the design in 2 and then some parts in 1?
I'm going to just show you the difference. So I'm just going to you wouldn't do this, you'd actually start with a new thread, but I'm going to double my thread there.
Move up. That's better.
Yeah.
That's better. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying not to lean over too much. Oops. So now I've got 2 strands of the Sashiko and a little bit of thread there. Let's get rid of that. Don't know where that came from. So I'm going to do 2 strands of the Sashiko, or 2 lengths of the Sashiko thread.
And that still threads through the needle, okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
You want those to lie as parallel as you
give them
can.
Both a little tug to...
Just have a little bit of...
I guess they don't break.
No, they don't break. No, it'd be really hard to actually break the Sashiko threads without scissors.
So that's quite a good price, isn't it? $24.99, and you get the whole panel with 16 different designs.
Yeah.
And the 3 things of thread, and they're are they 8 meters? Or more. 20.
Yeah.
20 meters. So you get 60 meters of thread and 16 designs. It's quite a lot.
It's really good. It can get you started, really, if you've not done it before. But can you see the difference?
Yeah, very
there?
different.
So you've got your single strand to about there, and then I've used 2 strands there.
So you can just sort of play with the design a bit, can't you?
You can.
And I think the nice thing is that while you're sewing and it's like that, you start thinking, don't you? You start thinking, oh, I wonder if I did that bit like that.
Yes.
If I did that bit. And that's nice. That's the mindfulness of sewing, isn't it?
It is, definitely.
You don't have to think about anything else because you're concentrating on the length of your stitches.
There you go. So that's that one.
It's beautiful.
Really pretty. So what I'm going to do is just show you the orange on another curved design.
I love that orange. It's a real sort of burnt pumpkin
Yes.
type orange. It's not bright.
No, not at all.
They are quite earthy colours. Well, nature colours, aren't they?
Yes, yes. So I'm going to just go
So is
across
this the
here.
maple leaf one? So I'm going to find that one.
Oh,
I'm sure it's a maple leaf.
and again, if it's a just a gentle curve, you can actually get more than one stitch on your needle. Just take your time pulling it through. If you've got a long length of thread, you don't want that thread to knot. And you can see it doesn't knot very easily. I want to show you how to end off and then start again. And this particular one, when I was doing some of the prep, I thought, oh yes, I'll pick that one because you can play around with the colours on here. So you can do this lovely, what did you call it, pumpkin orange.
Pumpkin orange, or
Yeah.
like, yeah, it is. Well, it always have burnt. It looks like a pumpkin, doesn't it?
Yes.
They just feel like very natural colours that you would find in nature as well, don't they? So they really blend with the fabric well.
So if I just show you, so I've decided to do the orange there, and I'll most probably do the orange on that particular one there. And I'm going to do the yellow around the outside and then the cream on the inside. So I wanted to show you how to finish off.
Okay. So is it just one knot to start with?
One knot to start with. And then, as I say, don't get it all puckered. Be careful that you're not left with a long loop on the other side. It might look fine on the back, but just double check.
Has that happened to you before then?
Just a couple of times.
Yeah. It's funny how when people say, just be careful that this doesn't happen, and you think, you know that's why, don't you?
And then this is the way I finish off. As I say, Susan has a number of different ways to finish off, but you want this nice and secure. So pass your needle through one of the stitches on the wrong side, and then I make a loop, and I pass the needle through the loop and through the stitch on the back. So you're making a knot.
Oh, so you're knotting to start and finish really, in effect.
And then you can do another one. So you've got like a double knot, and that shouldn't come undone at all. So what I'm going to do is see if I get the other.
So if you're making it into something else, you know, like you made that one into a purse.
Yes.
Did you cut the panel first, or did you just draw the lines on it?
I drew the shape of the, that was the curved one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I did with that one, from this panel, I actually decided where I wanted the actual bag shape, and then I drew the line round there, stitched it, then cut it.
Ah, okay.
So I didn't want to, because you can see the fabric does fray
Yeah,
a little
you
bit.
would have had raw edges, so
yes,
better
yeah.
to do
So
that way.
you know, place your template onto the actual panel, draw round it, and then do your stitching, then cut it out. I've put some wadding on the back of that as well.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah. So I've done that. So I'm going to just, so again, because we've done our plait, you just
You
take,
pull it out from the top end.
yeah, pull it out. It will all pucker up, but don't worry. One way and then the other way.
Magic.
And this should be, do you want to talk amongst yourselves while I try and thread my needle? Oh, I think I've done it.
Don't need to.
No. I'll just...
Oh, so the most popular panel is the one that you've made the cushion out of, which is this sort of lighter denim-y blue. I think the threads are just lovely on this one, though. I love that variegated turquoise that you've got.
do,
And
yeah.
the bluey purple is beautiful, isn't it?
It really is pretty.
And then the grey's nice.
The grey, to me, is you know, like the cream, it's sort of like a solid colour.
Yeah.
Sorry, this is going to take me a while. I am going to the opticians. I have got an appointment with the opticians. But the grey to me is very similar to the cream, which is the traditional.
So you see the coasters, so that's using the solid grey.
Yeah.
But it works better, the grey on this colour, doesn't it?
It does.
Than the cream. It's a bit more subtle because it is all about the sort of natural colours. But you can, you know, you can use that for certain areas. But it's nice that you can keep playing with it, can't you? And
you do. You get
let me try that colour, see how that looks.
Yeah,
and
you get a bit carried away with it.
And also by having this number of panels, you could think, well, that's going to be my first practice one. This is the one I'm going to build up to.
Yes.
And you can use them that way, can't you? So that, because the panels are very much like that, there are some that are easier than others.
Right, so half threaded.
Yes, Cara's now threaded.
I know we've only got about 10 minutes left.
Oh, not even that, 2.
2 minutes left. So it is just a case of carrying on. So I'm going to just stitch the yellow around there. And this was just really to show you how you can get the different effect with the different colours. But equally, if I wanted to, I could do this particular line with 2 strands. You could put, if you really wanted to be completely different, you could put the 2 strands together, but do one of the yellow and one of the orange in the needle at the same time.
Oh, of course. I hadn't really thought of that.
So it's like tweeding. They call it tweeding when you take one colour.
It'd be nice with this one if you had a bit of the turquoise and a bit of the blue. In fact, the turquoise and the grey would be nice together, wouldn't
Yes. Yeah.
And really add some texture because all of those colours go together.
They do. And as I say, you know, when I first got this, I thought, oh, I'm not sure about the yellow and the orange with the red, but it does go really well.
I think because although it looks solid, because you're doing a running stitch, it takes away the harshness of it, doesn't it?
Definitely. So as I say, that's really the basics. I would use Susan's book to help guide you through the directions of doing some of the stitching.
And
so
in
this
the simple Sashiko book.
Yeah, and then the simple Sashiko book is really, really good.
But actually, there are diagrams in here
yes,
of the directions that you need and how to do it. So it's a simpler version of the ultimate, but there's certainly enough information in here to get going, isn't there?
Definitely.
And to make projects.
And as I say, once you've started with a panel that's already printed, then you can go on to
I mean, and she even shows you how to make a tote bag from a Sashiko panel, which is exactly what you need for these panels, isn't there?
Yeah.
This is lovely. Well, thank you so much, Cara.
That's quite all right.
We'll see you on the Yarn Lane side.
I know. I need to put a different hat on, don't I?
Cara is going to become... We only have a couple of our lovely guests who do Sewing Street and Yarn Lane, and Cara's one of them. So she's going to be out with us in an hour for Loom. So we'll have a just quick run through the panels. So the one that Cara's used for her cushion and her coasters is this lighter blue one. So you get the panel that's got 8 large designs and 8 small. You get 3 skeins of thread, and there are 20 metres on each skein. You get the grey one, the turquoisey one, and the blue and purple one. And then you also get the, I like that, it shows you how, on the back, I know it's in Japanese, but it's all pictures. It actually shows you how to cut the skein and thread the needle and how to do the stitches and about the washing as well, even though the words are in Japanese, because it's got pictures quite easy to understand. We've also got the red one, which is the one that Cara's been demonstrating with. Again, 8 big, 8 small. You get 3 skeins of thread, this sort of pumpkin orange, buttermilk cream, daffodil yellow. There's loads and loads of these in baskets. So I would check out, because as you know, it's not yours until you've checked out. And you can check out as many times as you like, still only the 1 postage. There's the very traditional indigo blue, which is where the original Sashiko comes from. Again, same colours with the red, because it actually works really well. They might look quite sort of stark here, but once you've running stitched them in, they look a lot more subtle. But the traditional is the indigo with the cream. And then I love this one. This is a very earthy toned one. Real sort of brown with the black coming through the back, the background, but it is very earthy. And I like the choice of threads with this because they're very earthy too. You've got a variegated brown, a red sort of with an orange and a yellow, and a dusky blue and pump. It's the same orange colour, but that's beautiful. And on this one, you've got the 4 large panels, no, the 8 large panels and the 8 one, but this is the camon, so you get the Japanese symbols, and all of these mean different things. Very, very traditional, but you know, we've also got fabrics by the half metre, and they complement. So if you want to make something, make your Sashiko panels into something, these fabrics are perfect because they've got the same black going one way and the colours go in the other. We'll start with the shimon, which is this lovely, look at how navy that is on the background. It's amazing that, you know, normally when you get printed fabric, you see it through both sides. Perfect for complementing your embroidered Sashiko panels, but also to use for other things. Use it in quilts, use it for dressmaking. It's a cotton fabric, but it's quite a nice weight. It's got a little bit, it's a little bit heavier than a quilting weight, but only very slightly. And then we've also got the 2 striped fabrics. We've got, starting with the aubergine one. It's not called aubergine on the website, but it looks like aubergine, burnt orange and sort of a sage green with the silver and the black lines, but very, very traditional prints that you can use with your... Nice for binding as well because of the stripes. You could cut it either way depending on what you want. Then there's the other striped one, which is blue and slate, and it's got this sort of really tomato-y red and a nice mustard. That's been really popular. That's the one that Cara has used on her cushion. It's beautiful. I love the colours in that. And finally, this wave one, which brand new today. But it's like a bark cloth. It's got a little bit more weight, so it's very good to use with your Sashiko, but also in dressmaking because it is a bark cloth, well, a bark cloth type. So it's got a little bit more weight to it. Really lovely for bag making. And remember, you can buy it for the half metre because it's got all these details in it. It's really good for embellishing. If you wanted to add a little bit of embroidery to this, you could even use, you know, the Sashiko stitching on it because you've got the curves of the waves. You could echo the lines on here, which isn't the traditional way to do it, but it would give that real sort of texture and interest to it. It's a beautiful fabric. So if you quite have thinking, I like this Sashiko, I really want to have a go at it, we do have... on our website, lots of different Sashiko materials. Remember, we've got the needles as well. So when you go to the website, just type in the top Sashiko, which Kat's just doing now, and all different things. So we've got, you know, we've got the skeins. If you just want the cream thread, that's there. Look at all the different skeins of thread. We've got different panels in different colours. So if you like some of these things, think, well, I'd like to do that, but I'd like to try it with a different colour. It's all on there. So just keep scrolling down, you can see it. Click add to basket and then check out because we know that you love Sashiko, so we do have a lot of it and we bring back. And remember, if you want to watch any of the demos, put into YouTube Sewing Street Sashiko. So after the break, we have got Workroom Tools, lots of different things for you to have a look at, and a sewing machine, which I'll be showing you. So I'll see you in a couple of minutes.
Hello everyone, my name's Cara Ackerman and I'm absolutely delighted to be here at Sewing Street. I actually originated from Hertfordshire, then went down to Hampshire and then it ended up in the East Midlands. I've been in the East Midlands for about 40 years now, which seems crazy, but 36 of those I actually worked with DMC Creative World, which was wonderful. I really, really enjoyed that. And then I decided to go freelance and that's how I got introduced to Sewing Street. I love doing anything to do with textiles, so embroidery, cross stitch, patchwork, done a bit of quilting, bag making, toy making, oh goodness, there's loads and loads of things. What I love doing is just trying something new, and I think one of the tips is don't be frightened of trying something new. You always learn from it, and you know, don't be scared of making mistakes either. We all learn from the mistakes that we make. little bit about me that you might not know and that's a bit of a surprise. I once went to the garden party down at Buckingham Palace, the Queen's garden party, for some work that I did with Marie Curie. I was so lucky to go there, and just a wonderful time. So I hope to see more of you on Sewing Street, and I hope to try lots of new crafts with you. So see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Hi, I'm Helen from Woolly Chic, and I'd like to wish everyone at Yarn Lane and Sewing Street a very happy, healthy and creative Christmas.
I want to thank you all for your incredible support this year on Yarn Lane, and also to wish you the merriest, the craftiest Christmas ever. And of course, a wonderful Happy New Year. Fingers crossed it's a lot better than this one.
Hello everyone, it's Cara here. I just wanted to come along and say Happy Christmas to you all. Thank you so much for everything in 2020 and for sewing along with us. We really hope you have a happy Christmas, a safe Christmas and a healthy 2021. Thank you.
Stuck for ideas for the perfect gift? Why not get them a gift card? You can buy Sewing Street and Yarn Lane gift cards loaded up with anything from £10 to £500. Shop our gift cards online at www.sewingstreet.com or www.yarnlane.com, or purchase them via our UK call centre on 0800 001 44 33.
If you'd like to get in touch with us during our live show and send in any messages or any questions, then you can do it on studio@sewingstreet.com. Alternatively, you can message us on our official Facebook page.
Hello, welcome back to Sewing Street. This hour is all about Workroom Tools. I've just discovered this new one. I like this. They just put this on the table and I said, oh, what does this do then? It looks like a bath sponge. I don't know how it works, but it's called a lint magnet. It attracts lint like a magnet. Now, if you're anything like me, I do a lot of my sewing, either cutting stuff on the table with my cutting mat, but I also do quite a lot of cutting on my ironing board as well. It's always covered with little bits of thread, and often I'll use a metal ruler to try and get it all together, but it doesn't work. But this, I don't know, I'm not absolutely sure how it works. However, you just do this. Look at that. Look at that. Magic. £5.99. £5.99. So let me I'll pull them off again, show you. But that's fantastic. So easy enough to get off, so when you want to put them all in the bin. But when you've got all bits of thread, I often find that when I've finished a project, I spend more time pulling off the thread, not ones I haven't cut off, but ones that are all over. And look, just picks them all up, and then you can put them in the bin. That is magic, isn't it? And it says you can just run it under cool water and then dry it, and then you can use it again. So they're easy enough to take off, but you could just clear the whole thing. And actually, if you run it under water, that will take the threads off. But £5.99, that's fantastic, isn't it? It's like a magnet for thread. So you could use it, but in your sewing machine, you could use it to clean off all the bits of fluff and the dust. I mean, it really does. I don't know how it works, because it is just like a sponge. Brilliant, though. Brilliant. For £5.99, that is going to make your workroom tidier. I like that. Lovely thing. Right, we've just had a whole hour, if you were with us before, about Susan Briscoe and her Sashiko. And I was saying to Cara, have you ever seen the quilt? This is how she started, was quilting. I love this book. It's absolutely brilliant because it tells you everything you should know. So if you're a complete beginner to quilting, and not just quilting, but patchwork and applique as well, you will learn masses. But if you're, I mean, it's only £12.99. £12.99, and it's got 158 pages, which is quite a lot, isn't it, for £12.99? But if you're not a beginner, but you're more expert, more experienced, you will learn so much from this. So she goes through everything that you need to know. She starts off with equipment and threads. So if you're a beginner, this will tell you what you need. I mean, and she then also, there's lots of little bits and tips and techniques. There's a section called Try It, which is, you know, extra things you know. And then there's Fix It, which is if you've got problems, kind of a troubleshooting thing. I love this section. One of the questions we get quite a lot, particularly on our Facebook page, is, I want to buy a new sewing machine. What do you recommend? Everything you need to know in there. Because it's not about the machine. There isn't ever just one machine. It's what machine do you need, and that will really tell you. Lots about gadgets, because we're often like a bit bamboozled by gadgets, but this will tell you what you need. And remember, every page has got this Fix It and this Try It section. So like the Fix It on this is coating threads. If you find your threads are twisting and not, put them through some silicone wax, you know. And even the more experienced stitchers, I mean, every time I look through this I find out something new about choosing fabrics, dyeing, preparing fabrics. There's so much. I mean, it could take me ages to go through how to put photos on fabric. Then we move on to quilts, and there's not just the techniques of how to do it, but things like how to work with different patterns, how to make templates. I'm going to sort of flick through. I could spend a whole hour on this, working out strip lengths. And then she goes into really fine detail, like flying geese. How do you make a flying geese? And what are the different variations? And what is a flying geese? She explains what it is, and then she gives you different methods of doing it. Foundation piecing, something lots of people really struggle with. I like this foundation piecing. She's got some of her Sashiko stitching in it as well. Then this is more complicated foundation piecing, where it looks like you're working with curves. So if you've tried foundation piecing and you want to move a step further, there it is. Puzzles and weaves. But then she moves on to, you know, the technical things like how to make a mitered border. And look, she's got her Japanese fabric in that. How to create seams. So if you want to machine sew hexagons, how to do that. And that's really interesting. Curved seams. So there's loads, there's so many. I mean, what it's called 350, this takes it, well, it does say plus. There's so much information here. Then she moves on to applique, but not just normal applique, everything. Fused applique, freezer paper applique, needle turn and reverse applique. I mean, you know, there's a whole new technique on every spread of pages. So if you decide, right, this year I'm going to learn some new techniques, then, you know, or maybe you're a dressmaker, you think, I want to have a go at some of that patchwork and quilting. Or you do applique, but you haven't tried patchwork. Or you think, well, I know a bit about it, but I feel like I need to learn more. This book is fantastic for that. And I think at £12.99, it's a real bargain. I love Hawaiian applique. This is a really traditional technique. It's like reverse applique. But she shows you how to design your own patterns with it. Buy a strip applique. That's always been really popular with us, because you can create some beautiful designs just using bias strips. She even tells you how to make your own bias strips, how to embellish things, crazy patchwork. But then she goes into materials like wadding. You know, what wadding do you use? There's so many different sorts, and it says choosing wadding. How do you choose it? Because if you haven't done lots of quilting before and you don't know lots of people quilt, where do you start to know? Because if you go onto websites or you go into shops, you know, everyone sort of explains what theirs does, but you don't really know which one you do. But I love on this one, the Fix It, what happens when you get ridges and creases. I love that, because I know when I get, you know, you're wadding, because it's all sort of stuck together. It's together, you open it all out and it's got all these big waves, and it just says, take the wadding out of the packaging and lay it flat. Use a hairdryer on a hot setting and work your way across the quilt. The hot air will relax and move those creases quickly. Now, that's something that only experts know, really. And where would you find that information? And that's just a tiny little tip I'm going to read out. You have to buy the book to find out the rest. Hand quilting, how to do hand quilting, machine quilting. And, you know, that's one of those things, free motion quilting, that you think, I can't do. Long arm machine quilting. And then there's obviously hand. And then we moved on to bindings. There's so much here. Invisible finishes. I love the section at the back, which is about quilt groups, how to make a quilt out of groups. And then things about an exhibition, how to set up an exhibition, how to make a catalogue for it, how to organise it, how to photograph it. And you know, that's really, you know, because that's something that it's really important. I'm not sure where you'd find, unless you're in a group, how would you know? And things like entering a show, how do you, because you might think, oh, I'd like to enter that, but oh, it looks really complicated. How do they judge it? You know, how do I send it? How do I block my quilt and hang it? And, you know, it even shows you how to make a sleeve, because, you know, they might say to you, must have hanging. Oh, well, I don't know how to do that. And how to care and store, because, you know, by the time you've worked your way from the beginning to the end of this book, you're going to have hundreds of quilts. What's the best way to care for them and store them? And then there's got the maths, conversions. I mean, it really has got everything. I like the fact it's got a glossary as well, because there's a lot of times that people say, of course, you know, you need, this is a directional print. What's that? Well, it says it in here. Lovely. It's really, really, really good book. So it does say 350 plus, but really, you know, it has got everything. I mean, as I said, although Susan Briscoe is known for her Sashiko, this is where she started, and she's a fantastic quilter. The Ultimate Sashiko book that we sold in the last hour even, sold out. And this one probably will too, because it is a wonderful book. I absolutely love this, because every time I look through it, there's always a new little tip that I really think, oh, that's interesting. So do get that one. So next, wadding. We were just talking about wadding. There are all different sorts of wadding you can buy, and I've got two. So I've got a polyester and an 80-20. So most of you think, what do you mean 80-20? What does that mean? We'll move on to that. This is your polyester wadding. This is a really good quality. There are different qualities of polyester wadding. Now this is a queen size. I'll just read out the measurements, which is 90 by 108 inches or 228 by 274 centimetres. Now when you're getting wadding for a quilt, it needs to be at least 8 inches bigger than the finished quilt, because you have your backing fabric, then you have your wadding, and then you have the top of your quilt. And that needs to be all quilted, because once you spread it all out, it starts easing out a bit more, and there's nothing worse than not having enough wadding. And then you trim it afterwards. So work out how much you need, and at least 8 inches bigger. But remember, the great thing about this, particularly polyester wadding, it's always really good to have wadding in the house, because if you're making cushions or bags or table mats, or even things that you don't think of that would use wadding, like a little purse or a cosmetic bag, everything always looks a little bit better for a bit of wadding. It's a bit, it gives it that, I mean, this is, you know, it's a very thin, as it won't add masses of bulk, but it's enough to give it that little bit of cushion, bit of padding. Even if you're making a tote bag, putting a little bit of wadding between the outer and the lining just gives it a little bit more substance and structure. So I always like to have a big piece of wadding in the house, and then I can use it for all these sort of things. Now, the polyester wadding is fully washable, so a lot of people prefer using this because you can wash it at any temperature. You can use it for children, so if you need to do lots of washing, if you're using it for children's quilts or cushions or things that are going to be done like kids' play mats, that sort of stuff, then it's ideal. But it isn't just your cheap wadding, it is needle punch, which means that it has been finished by the needle punching through and through and through, which means that the fibres are bonded more closely, and therefore it won't, what's the word, beard. You won't start finding the fibres come out. So this is there are different qualities. If you want to use a polyester wadding, this is a really good quality. And it's a good size. Queen size covers most sizes. And at $29.99, you've then got it. You can use it for a whole quilt, but it's just always really useful to have for other things. Now, the other wadding I've got is obviously completely different content. This is your 80-20 wadding, which means it's 80% cotton and 20% polyester. Now the cotton, it's a much softer feel, much better drape than the polyester, but the polyester will give it strength. This is the same size, 228 by 274. It's needle punched as well. Now with these cotton waddings, the best thing to do, because it's cotton, it will shrink a little bit. So the best thing, do not wash it beforehand. Don't. Well, you can if you like, but the reason that it's best not to is you quilt everything first and then wash it on a cold wash. Now most washing machines have a cold wash, not warm or lukewarm, but cold. If they don't, you're going to have to wash it by hand, because what will happen then is that the wadding will shrink very slightly, not very much, but just very slightly, but the fabric probably won't shrink, but the wadding will shrink because at a different rate. And then it means even if you've machine quilted, it always gives a hand quilted feel because it slightly puckers, not, it won't look creased or anything, but it just slightly puckers a little bit. So it gives it that real sort of heirloom hand quilted quality, and it means that you can then wash it again. But do it on a cold wash. I mean, I have washed quilts on a lukewarm wash. It's fine, but it is better. Then nothing happened, it didn't fall apart, but it is best to do it on a cold wash if you can. I have put them in at 30 degrees, which you're probably not supposed to, and it didn't, you know, nothing went terribly wrong, but you'll get a better finish. But that's why, but the 20% polyester means that it is machine washable, and it's just got that little bit more strength. It's a very, very pale cream colour, so you could use it with white if you want to, because it is very, very pale cream. You can get white wadding and you get, but I've never seen black wadding. Never see dark wadding, but this wadding doesn't come through. It won't come through. It's just that if you're making a quilt that's absolutely pure white, then you are better off using a white wadding. But this will go, you don't really need darker because the wadding won't really show through. But it gives you the maximum up to 10 inch, 25 centimetres apart. But then you wouldn't probably quilt further apart than that. But it is really nice to use. But remember that tip I read you out of Susan's book. When you open this, because obviously this is the size and it's massive, it's in layers. When you open it, they feel quite stuck together. So pull it apart quite gently. But then it has all these ridges and creases in it. So lay it out flat and just run a hairdryer over it. But again, something I always keep in the house, always keep wadding because it's useful for all sorts of things. Now, if we're doing some quilting, tacking, obviously, some people don't like cutting out fabric, some people do, some people like quilting, some people don't. But I don't think anyone likes the layering process. Although I'll probably have somebody now go, I love the layer, love it, but yeah, but if there is that person out there, great, because you can base mine, you can do mine. Yes, let me know and I'll give you my email address. So what you do is you, with the basting spray, is you cut all your wadding out and your top fabric and your back fabric, make sure it's all flat. Then you lay your backing fabric right side down, and then you spray one side of your wadding and you put that on top, and then that's stuck. But it's not stuck permanently, it is removable. You can just pull it off if you've got it slightly wrong. You then spray the other side and you can put your top fabric on top, and you don't need to do any tacking. Remember, you do have to shake it quite a lot. I mean, you can do either the top first or the backing, it doesn't really matter. And if you find that you've moved it a few times, or actually sometimes you find as you're quilting, if you're moving it around, if it's a particularly big quilt, and it's all under your sewing machine, if you just give it a quick press, then it will reactivate the adhesive again. But it does wash out, which is great. So when you stick that in the machine, yeah, and remember, put something, because if you spray and you've got it on your table and your carpet, you will get a sticky table or a sticky carpet. So you spray the wadding, not the fabric, but do cover the surfaces and then open the window. I mean, it's not toxic, but it's obviously an aerosol, so it will go up your nose a bit. But it's great. It just saves that tacking. And not just for big quilts. You know, if you're just doing a cushion and you know, it is best to tack it together, even if it's just a cushion. But this basting spray is fantastic. It's just time-saving, fantastic. It's one of those really good workroom things that you need if you're using quilt wadding. It's a really good thing. But we also do have, if you don't want to do another option, is this. This is fusible fleece. It's called H614, that's its technical term. So if we look at the fleece, and I use this for smaller things, I'll often use, I mean, you can use this for all, you can use it for all size things. So one side is your normal polyester wadding, and the other side, a bit like an interfacing, you can sort of see the glue dots. I often use this if I'm making things like making small cosmetic purses, because it's just quick, because you can just quickly press that. Cara used it on the bag that she was making at 8 o'clock, so you can use it for that. I tend to use it for the little things, because you can just quickly press it on and get it done and move on to the next stage. So It is, they are pre-cut in metre pieces. But I mean, you know, you can butt them up together. So if you buy two, you won't get 2 metres. They are in pre-cut 1 metre pieces. But you can butt them up together. So, you know, I've used iron-on wadding like this for full quilts because you can buy it for all different sizes. But I tend to keep this for just smaller things because it's just quick and easy. And rather than tacking the wadding on, which when I'm making a wash bag I really can't be bothered to do, then this is ideal for that. So I usually keep a metre there. As you can see, my sewing room is very packed full of all these things. Yeah, let's just do the early bird again because there are still a few left. The needle gripper, this is lovely, isn't it? I know, it's great that it's back in stock because everyone loves it. I haven't got my needle and thread, that's over the other side. But what it does is if you're pulling a needle through something that's quite stiff, some fabric. Oh, I can use a needle here. Well, that's a pin. I don't suppose it matters whether it's a pin or a needle. And you can't get it through. You just grip the eye of the needle, and it won't come out because the oh God, I've got it locked now. Because the teeth, the blades of it, are like a nail file. Those metal nail files you're not supposed to use because you ruin your nails. You see, they've got a slight ridge to them. And that will grip it. So if you're trying to pull a needle through fabric, so I've got some canvas fabric. So say I wanted to do a load of running stitches through here, and then I can't get it through. You just grip it. And you know, you just can't, particularly if you're using maybe like an oilcloth or a PU, you can just grip it and put it through. It's also got a lock on the handle, so it will just grip it. But what it's also used for is if you've got a tube of fabric that you need to turn right sides out, you can just push this inside, get hold of it and pull it through. If you're stuffing something like, if you're doing a toy and you're stuffing a tube like a tail or something, that's ideal for, you can grip little pieces of stuff, wadding or toy stuffing, and push them in, or, you know, the fingers or the toes or small parts, because anything that you need to really grip something for, it's really good for turning out corners. So maybe you've turned out a square, rather than using scissors that will pierce the fabric or a chopstick, they're rounded so you can do that. But it's just anything that you want to grip, and it really, I mean, it's amazing how well it will grip. So it is £6.99 today, but we're on a special offer. It's £2 off because it's our early bird deal. But at midnight, it will go back to £8.99 again. So it's a really useful piece of equipment for pulling, you know, if you need to pull a needle through fabric, really that does the job. And it won't ruin the needle either because it's just got the little ridges that hold it. But when we had them the first time, they sold out ever so quickly. So we've been waiting for these to come back in stock. And here they are. I like the fact they have locking handles as well. That's great, isn't it? Lovely, lovely. Right, sewing quilt. Techniques and projects for hand stitching and patchwork. Oh, the Susan Briscoe book has sold out. We thought it would do. Nether, techniques and projects. I like this. This is nice. This is by Susan Beale. We go all the way through. So we've got all this sort of tools and materials that you normally have that is quite useful because it talks about pre-cuts. What is a pre-cut and how do you use it? The essential tools, but it does talk about sewing and quilting. So it talks quite detail about rotary cutting equipment, which is always useful because, you know, if you've not used sewing and rotary cutting equipment, that's really useful. And then it's got all the tools, but then these got the nice to have tools. These are always the most interesting ones, aren't they? Like the 1/4 inch presser foot. So if you're doing patchwork and quilting and you use a 1/4 inch seam, having a 1/4 inch foot, some machines come with them, but not all. It's really useful to have a 1/4 inch foot because all it means is that it will measure the distance then between your needle and the edge of the fabric. So you just line the foot up with the edge of the fabric and sew along it, and you've immediately got a 1/4 inch seam. Invisible zipper foot, I've got one of those, it's brilliant. If you want to put in concealed or invisible zips, this is fantastic. You can use a zip foot, but an invisible zip foot's even easier. Pinking shears, love them because it saves me. I hate finishing edges and doing overlocking. I like that. A ruby ruler, that's really interesting. A ruby ruler, it helps you to see what, if you want to separate fabrics and dark and light values so you can see how it will work. Because sometimes you look at fabrics, you think, oh, I don't know which one's dark or light. So maybe you're doing a log cabin and you need half the fabrics to be dark and half the fabrics to be light. And it's not always, there are always those fabrics you're not really sure. So if you put this ruby ruler, which is just a piece of plastic that's red, on top, it will show you which are dark and which light. Don't know how it works, but it just does. Pre-wound bobbins, they're brilliant. I absolutely love those. I've got a handful of white ones and I don't know if I have to wind a bobbin. They're fantastic. A measuring tape, well, I wouldn't say that's a nice to have tool. I'd say that's actually an essential tool, is a tape measure. Odd. Walking foot, yeah, that's really useful if you're quilting. Not many machines come walking with a walking feet. Some of the real high end, yeah, Cara just said she finally had one for Christmas. I bought myself one last year. They're not cheap, but fantastic. And then she goes into hand stitching and embroidery, because this book is all about hand stitching and patchwork. And that's really nice, isn't it? Because a lot of the time we mix the two together. You don't have to be just a patchwork or an embroiderer. You can embroider pieces, put them into your patchwork, or you can do your patchwork and embroider on top of it. So she talks in a lot of detail how to start off with embroidery, how to do the different stitches, cross stitch, back stitch, chain stitch, lazy daisy. Then the whole machine sewing, how to do construction and top stitch, how to make a pillow, whether you want just a simple envelope back or more complicated than that. But how do you know, that's one of the important things, you know, we say, oh, let's make that into a cushion, but oh, how do you make a cushion? Even how to make your own binding tape. Patchwork sampler. I like this idea. This is a really good way of practicing different blocks. And instead of doing a quilt where it's all made from the same block, which can get a bit boring, you just do different ones. But I like the diagrams in the book, all computer illustrated. So they're really, really easy, clear, and you can see what's going on. And then there's lots of little tips and techniques like trimming your block afterwards beyond the sampler. So this is different. So she's taught you at the beginning, say, how to make a log cabin. But depending on the way that you turn it and arrange it, it creates different shapes. So that's lovely. Strips, that's the rail fence. So everything is beyond it. So she starts off with how to make the string block. Then what can you do with it? Because you can create different things. So once you've learned one block, that isn't it. You can do so much more with it. And she goes through them all, like the half square triangle block. But this is what can happen with the different variations. You can make flying geese, diamonds, chevron, pinwheel, diagonals, everlasting tree. And that's all made from that half square triangle block. You might see people refer to it as HST, which I would think sounds like a high-speed rail link. But it's not. It's a half square triangle. And then she talks more, it goes into more detail. So if you want to learn to make half square triangles, there's actually a way of doing 4 and 8 at once, which is much more economical with fabric and a bit quicker too. So she goes into that too. So if you haven't tried patchwork and quilting before, this is fantastic. But it gives you loads of stuff. So, you know, maybe you want to make a quilt, and you hear all these terms and you've watched a bit of Sewing Street and you see people make things, you think, well, I want to do that. This is really good. You can sit down for a few evenings and read the whole thing, and actually it would soon become quite clear to you which you like the most. Shows you how to bind a quilt, which is really important when you finished it. You don't want to just be left when you read some instruction, it goes, bind the quilt. Okay, but how? Well, she explains how to do that, how to work out how much binding you need, and how to join it as well. Nesting seams, I remember that was one of the first things when I heard about quilting years ago. Well, of course, I always nest the seams. I have no idea what you're talking about, but you don't really know how to ask. I mean, a nesting seams basically is pressing one seam one way and one the other, and then when they join together, they nest. So it means that they're easier to match the seams, but they also create less bulk in the quilt. So, none of these things they all sound highly technical, but they're not really. But in here, it explains all of that. How to tack your quilt. And then, this is what I love this, embroidery, sewing and patchwork. So now we're talking about joining it all together. So here's your filled embroidery sampler. That's great, isn't it? How to do all the different embroidery. But now you're mixing together. So what she's doing is she's taking this print fabric, but she's embroidering certain parts of it just to add embellishment. So this tie-dye fabric has just got some embroidery on it. So you're now mixing the two things. And she's got a section on Sashiko. How to do Sashiko. We're all about Sashiko today. I mean, I love that. You know, this is a log cabin pillow, but she's done some really nice embroidery around it as well. I think we often think that we have to stick to one discipline or the other, but it's amazing how lovely something can look with just some simple running stitch around it. But then, you know, she's talking about how to make different sorts of rectangular pillows, half square triangle. You can make that just into a little pinwheel pincushion. And then she's showing you how to use some of these patchwork techniques, but to make other things like a rail fence, because that's a type of patchwork block, into a needle book. That's using one of the patchwork patterns. I mean, this is really very multi-purpose, because sometimes when we learn these different blocks, we think, oh, I don't know what to make from it, but that's really unusual. You don't often see a tote bag like that. That's lovely, isn't it? But that's what it looks like in that shape. Exactly the same block, but turned round, and it looks like that. So you can actually have the back different to the front. There's loads of ideas. I think that's really important, is that you think if you don't want to commit to a whole quilt, but you want to quilt, what do you do? And there's loads of different ideas in this. It's lovely. Basket weave picnic quilt. That's beautiful, isn't it? There's a lot in there, because you might not want to make a quilt for bed, you just want to make one for picnic. That's really nice. Little sort of wall hanging quilts, but there's a lot of ideas in here. And at the beginning you started off with, you know, exactly how to make the block, and then this is what you can do with them all. And I think once you start at the beginning, so this really is for somebody who's never done patchwork and quilting, or somebody who does it but wants to learn a bit more, become a bit more professional, but also change it up a bit, add a bit of embroidery to it. And it's really nice that it gives you all of this information. I like the computer diagrams as well. This is lovely. This is a memento mini quilt. This is a really nice idea. So you make a block maybe for, it could be a special occasion like a christening or the first year of a child's school or something, and you use fabrics from there. So maybe it could be some of their favourite clothes. It could be something, you know, it could be even like their cub shirt or their football shirt or something. But it's a way of creating all these little mini blocks. And if you kept doing, you could join them all together. Make one every year for them, and then it makes a whole quilt, their whole sort of first 10 years or something. And I think that's nice, is that quilts, you know, you've sown your time and your energy and your skill into them, so it's quite nice that you make them for a special reason. And there's a lot of these in here as well. I love this one. That's beautiful, isn't it? I like the way that all of the strip piecing is very angular and very linear, but then it's got circular quilting over it, so just takes it down and softens it a bit. There really is something for everyone in this. I mean, look at that. That's such simple patchwork. That's just massive half square triangles. How easy is that? But it's got all the circular quilting in it, and it just gives it a really nice texture. But there's a lot in here, lots and lots. So, you know, for $14.99, this is a real, sometimes, you know, you'll buy a book and you'll flick through and think, well, I've done with that then. I don't like any of the projects and I've finished, but there's actually loads in here. You know, there's so much information. It even talks about choosing colour palettes, which is, even for more experienced quilter, we often struggle with and think, oh, I don't know what colours go with what. You know, that's a lovely one, an anniversary mini quilt, just something small as a gift. But good book. I think just going through it, it's really, really good value for money, that book. Like that. So let's do rulers. I like these from Easy Quilt. Ooh, what's the price? Let's start with the hexagon. How much is the hexagon? £6.49. Wow, that's a bargain, isn't it? That's lovely, isn't it? These have never been on air, which means I can take them out of the packaging, because you can't actually see them. You can't see all the markings, so they're going to have to come out. Because that's important, the markings. Actually, don't tear the piece of paper. don't tear the paper because it tells you, it will tell you about it. One of the bonuses, this is beautifully packaged because it's really hard to get out. Anyway, so on the hexagon, you can create 1 inch. I wonder, I'm going to put it on this nice piece of pattern fabric. It's probably not even better, is it? I thought it might show better. I need it on a piece of. I wonder if I put it on white. That's a bit better, isn't it? You can see that better. So I'll lay that on there. So you can create from a 1 inch hexagon up to a 5.5 inch hexagon. So what you can do, and you've got the 1/4 inch seam allowance in there. So you've got the dotted line and that. So you can use them for cutting EPP. You can use them for tracing. So you can make your own templates by tracing around it. You can use that for, or you can use it if you want to machine sew hexagons together. So you can cut these from strips of fabric. So this is great. So if I show you the picture, this probably makes more sense than me trying to explain it. So say you wanted, I don't know, 4 inch hexagons, then you would cut, and you want them to be the finished height, it shows you, so say you wanted the hexagons to be 4 inch finished, you would cut them, so that's finished, and the finished luckily are the dotted lines because that means sewing, and the solid lines are the cutting lines. So you'd cut 4.5 inch strips of fabric with your stripology or just normal rotary cutter. Then you place the hexagon, can you see in the diagram there, and and the 4.5 inches you put there, and then you can just cut along there, and then you turn it round and you cut the other way. So you could use it for cutting paper if you were cutting EPP paper templates. So if you were say you wanted 1 inch hexes, well, no, let's go 2 because it's a bit easier to see. Say you wanted to do 2 inch hexes in EPP, you could cut 2 inch strips of paper, and then you could cut the hexagon shapes there by turning them round. Then you'd cut 2.5 inch strips of fabric, and you cut and then you use this hexagon shape to cut that. So immediately you've got the finished height, which is the paper, and the cut height, which is the fabric. Or if you're going to be doing it, if you're going to machine piece them, then you just cut the fabric. But because you've got all of these different sizes, it's so easy. So keep the piece of paper that it comes with, because it explains you just trim them one way, turn it round, trim the other way, and immediately you've got perfect hexagons. Because the only way really to do it otherwise is that you have to try and get templates or draw around them, and you're losing the accuracy. But by doing it this way, you've got 2 sides cut already. You just need to cut them, and they are proper, and they're for using with rotary cutters. That's what they're for. So they are solid. They've got a hanging loop. But for £6.49, if you like doing hexes, this is a fantastic piece of equipment. Right, we've got the same thing with triangles. So we'll cut this one open as well. And this is the same price, and it works in exactly the same way. Which I'm taking the covers off because you just can't see it otherwise. Who buys something in a piece of plastic that you can't see anyway? This is you need the piece of paper, but it's stuck on with one of those gluey dots, so it does come off without damaging the paper, and it will come off there as well. It's not something you won't get off because it's like a rubbery glue. So there we go. So it's equilateral triangles, which means all the sides are the same length. It gives you, again, all of these different ones. So it's got the cut line and it's got the sew line. So you've got at the top, you can see you've got the 1 inch triangle, the 2 inch triangle, 3 inch, 4 inches, 5 inches. So say you want to cut, you've already joined strips together and you want to cut the triangles. Again, cut the strips half an inch wider than the finished length, which is fine. So that's the cut length. So if you want a 2 inch triangle, you cut them to 2.5, and then you just flip the triangle round. So if you're using them, or if you want to trim squares into triangles, you can use these sides for them. but it's perfect for that. But, you know, it is there. You could just use it for drawing and cut along, but it is obviously created for using with a rotary cutter and rotary cutting mat, obviously. But if you wanted to use it for drawing things, then you can as well. But these are just really useful gadgets. And for $6.49, bargain. Now, these are great. I haven't seen templates like this before, so I think they're fantastic. So let's do rotary cutters next. Now, we can keep these because actually they've stuck back on. So I won't get in trouble for opening them all up. Right, so if you've not used rotary cutting equipment before, you can do it. We've got babies, medium and big. Now, I've not seen this one before. I said the other day on air, rotary cutters come in 3 sizes, 28, 45 and 60. But I didn't know. They came in 18mm. So this is perfect. You know when you watch The Sewing Bee and they all do that cutting out dress patterns with rotary cutters and you think, how do they do that, getting around all those sides? And they are brilliant for cutting out. Obviously, rotary cutters are mainly used in patchwork and quilting for cutting along your along your cutter, but if you want to cut out curves, the 18mm one is perfect because there's a lot more control over it. It will cut out tiny curves, or maybe you're cutting out something where you need to be much more accurate because it's just a very small piece. You know, you haven't got the whole circumference to go round. So these clover ones are lovely. You just, I mean, they're safety. So you slide it forward for on and off for off. So it will stay there. On the website we do have refill blades. So this 18mm, I've never seen this before. This is brilliant. So for those little pieces or small curves, ideal. We've then got the 28mm, again used for smaller curves, particularly dressmaking or circles, that kind of thing. That's lovely. And then this is your absolutely standard one that most people use for most things. That's your 45mm. But these are lovely, the clover ones. Well, I mean, if you use Clover Tools, you know that they're great quality. They're lovely. You know, they've got the safety aspect, so it will cover nice and sharp, easy to change. It's all on the back. Nice ergonomic handle. But this is your standard size for most patchwork and quilting, and they do use them for dressmaking, but I would say if you had the smaller ones, particularly this tiny one, if you've never seen that before, that's ideal because you can really cut out tiny shapes with that at a greater deal of accuracy. This is now, if you like foundation paper piecing, this is perfect for it. And we did foundation paper piecing, I think last week, can't remember. Anyway, we were talking about this paper. Now, when you do foundation paper piecing, obviously, if you've not done it before, you print onto the paper your pattern, you sew through the fabric and the paper for absolute 100% accuracy that you will not get with normal piecing alone. And then you tear the paper away. But if you like foundation paper piecing, you'll know that the worst part of it is tearing the paper away, particularly because it gets all caught underneath and in things. And also, when you're pressing it open, because you sew it and then you press it, when you use normal paper, it sort of curls up a bit. So there's 100 sheets here, and you can pop this through your printer, or you can draw it. It's up to you. This makes a big difference to your foundation piecing. It's very lightweight, so it won't add loads and loads of bulk, which if you're joining, sometimes you create things where you've got, say, 10 pieces in one section, then there are lots of different sections, so you might end up with 4 or 5 seams all joining up. You get too much bulk and then you lose accuracy. It's very lightweight, but it's thick enough that it needs to be, because you need to have a certain weight for it to work. It's really absorbent, so when you are putting it through the printer, it will absorb all the ink. You won't have any left on the top, and the fabric won't slip on it. Whereas normal, say, photocopy paper, there's a slight coating on it. Honestly, everyone I speak to who uses this, it makes a massive difference. So if you like foundation paper piecing, 100 sheets, I'll get you through loads and loads of projects. It's worth investing in that. So let's do sewing machines. I'm just going to move. It's like magic, that, isn't it? Hello, Hello. This is the Elna 680 Plus. It's a beautiful, beautiful dream of a machine. You know, when people say, I've only just started sewing, which one shall I get? Well, honestly, you know, if you like sewing, then this is not an expert machine. Even a beginner can use it. It will keep you going throughout your whole sewing life. It's got everything you need. So don't worry about the computerised thing. I remember the first time I bought my computerised sewing machine, I had a slight panic. Oh, why is it all going to go on? I don't understand it. Actually, it makes it loads simpler because it does all the thinking for you. You don't have to think about tension and fabric weights. It just works it all out for you. I mean, obviously, you've got to spend a bit of time, like with anything that you buy, go through the manual, see how it works and what it does. Now, the good thing about this is that it allows you to do the split pay up to 5 months. So you will pay £219.80. With the split pay, you don't get charged interest or anything extra. The selling price is divided into 5 equal parts. You pay the first one and you get it straight away. You don't have to pay for all 5. So you pay your first month and then the other 4 installments are taken out of your account on, you know, monthly basis, but you do get it straight away. So it's just a really good way of having a beautiful piece of machinery but being able to spread the payment at no extra cost. So I mean, I honestly believe with sewing machines that you get what you pay for. You really do. I mean, we don't sell lower quality machines because it's just not worth our while. We'd have too many returned. So Elna and Janome, same company, same machine, they've just got different names. This is the Elna Excellence 680. I mean, it is computerized, but don't let that put you off. So let me talk you through a few of the features. Okay, so as I said earlier, it's suitable for both the advanced hobby sewist and the beginner. And that's because the advanced will use more of the features, but the beginner, you'll find you start off with a few features and then before you know it, you want to move on to others. A lot of people think, well, I don't want one of those machines that does all those embroidery stitches because I'll never use them. Well, actually, you probably won't ever use all of them, but you'll use a few of them. And when you get a more expensive and more advanced machine, it comes with extra features that make quite a difference. So it's got a really good stitch width and long stitch length that makes quite a difference. If you want to do a really wide zigzag, the stitch width really helps. It's nice to have a good long stitch length because then you can tack with it. It's got alphabet, so you can personalise things. So instead of those name tapes, you can just personalise it. It's got a really good sewing speed, and it will slow down and it will speed up, but it does have a variable sewing speed, which really helps. It does have a variable needle positions, and that makes a big difference, particularly when you're sewing in a zip, because you need to be able to put them in different places. It's got really nice, the lift up foot on the back, easy to change zip feet. So let's have a look, because inside you can remove the bed. Now that makes a big difference. Anyone who's done any sewing will know when, say you think traditionally for dressmaking, this is for putting a sleeve over, but if you're sewing something like a small purse and you need to put it in round there, it's really, really useful for that. It also comes with a large extension table. So if you are stitching a big quilt or large things and you need to add to it, it will come with that too. And it also comes, I'm just going to see the feet that it comes with as well. With a whole host of feet. It comes with all the normal ones, like your zip foot. There's the zip foot. I've got a list here of all the feet just so I can read them. Because I can read that. So, oh, wow, that is what it comes with. So the standard foot, the rolled hem foot, that's brilliant. Oh, you know, when you want to do a tiny, tiny hem on the end of a sort of something that's very light, like just a handkerchief or the bottom of a dress, that's brilliant for that. It comes with the zip foot, satin stitch foot, the open toe satin stitch foot, which is really useful so you can actually see when you're doing satin stitch is just a very close zigzag and it really helps with that. Blind hem foot, overlock foot. So if you haven't got an overlocker, you can create that overlock look on the edge. Darning feet, even feed foot, which is what you think of as the for the quilting. And the way that works is that when you're sewing a quilt, particularly if you're sewing with layers of fabric, this is the even feed foot here. I'm going through the centre of the machine to show you. To me, it speeds up because you've got the teeth at the bottom that are feeding the bottom of the fabric through. But if the top fabric is moving at a different speed, you get sort of skip stitches or longer stitches. And when the fabric is bulky, or when you're doing a quilt, so you've got several layers, you need the feed at the top to go through at the same speed. And using the even feed foot, because it actually attaches to the foot itself, it threads it through at the same speed, which is fantastic. These even feet, also known as walking feet, are really expensive. As Cara was just saying, she had one for Christmas. I saved up and bought myself one. So the fact that it comes with that is brilliant. It's just a really lovely machine. There's just so much in it. Look at it. I like that because the machine I have doesn't do that. I think that's really useful. So it's got everything you can actually get to it and clean it. This section here opens, and so obviously you can keep all, because you've got loads of feet, you can keep lots of them here, but the more common feet you can just put in there, which is just really useful. I'm trying to see. So that's your basic foot, and then you've got the zip foot and all this, but that's just quite nice that you can keep there. It's got the cutter, which, you know, most slightly more advanced machines will have a cutter on them, but if you haven't got a machine with a cutter, it's fantastic because, you know, it cuts it beautifully. It just finishes it. It's got the needle up and down. It's got the speed, and that's really useful because it's not just about being a beginner and an expert. Sometimes when you really want to sew just into a corner and no further, you need to slow the speed down. And even if you're advanced, that's quite difficult to do, but you can speed it up again. Obviously, it's got the reverse because they all do. It's got the start-stop button, so that you don't have to use a foot pedal. And, you know, there are times when you don't want to use one, or you can't, or just the position you're in. So it's really nice to be able to have that start and stop. So there's so many features on there. There is a 2-year warranty, which is really worth it because not all machines do have them. There is, you'll get a lot of backup with this. You know, it's a very considered purchase. But there is a UK call centre with all the backup you need and all the help that you need. But I would say to someone, even as a beginner, once you start getting into sewing, all of these features make quite a difference. And when you look at the time that you spend on your hobby, I mean, I spend so much time on my machine. I really need to get it serviced. And the sewing machine shop said, we need it for a week. I'm like, I can't be without my machine for a week. You know, I use it all the time. And if I actually divided up the hours that I spend on there by how much I paid for it, it's very, very cheap. So it is back in stock. It was extremely popular before. We've had it out of stock for a while, but it is finally back in stock, and it is on split pay. So that means it will be divided equally over 5 months. There won't be any interest or any extra charges, and you will get it as soon as you've paid the first payment. You haven't got to wait for the end of the 5 months. And it's just a way of us being able to, you know, give you the opportunity to buy something that you haven't got all of the money for at this precise moment, but will over time. And yeah, and I understand it is a considered purchase, but it's one thing I say to someone is, you know, it is worth paying money, because with sewing machines in particular, you know, you pay for what it's got and the brand, and that comes, and it's not just the brand name, it comes with the quality of the machine, and it really isn't worth buying a poor quality machine because you will just give up on sewing. It will skip stitches, it will get blocked, it will constantly go wrong. When I've worked with lower quality machines, the bobbin thread breaks all the time, it all gets gummed up underneath. And you know, if you want to take up sewing as a hobby, or maybe you've got a beginner's machine and you're moving on to the next one, then this is the beauty, the queen machine that I would get. So anyway, yes, this is the one that John Scott's got, if that's any help at all. Very lovely machine. So tomorrow on Sewing Street, because we're about to finish Sewing Street, we're going to move on to you and Lam, but tomorrow on Sewing Street at 8 o'clock, we've got stash builders. Lots of different fabrics we can have for you can add to your stash, because you can never have too much fabric. 9 o'clock, we've got Sally Ann Harrison on with the Quilt As You Go tote bag. That'll be great, because Sally Ann is an absolute font of knowledge. She's an expert quilter. She's going to teach you loads, and she's always such a pleasure to work with. Normally I get to work with her on a Monday, but I shall miss her tomorrow. 10 o'clock, we've got Quilting Tools, because we would need more tools for quilting. 11 o'clock, Sally Ann's back with Creative Grids, Cat's Cradle. If you've not seen Creative Grids before, they're a type of ruler, but they're very specific for specific quilts. You'll love them, and they're really good quality. I love them. And then at 12 o'clock, we've got Yarn Lane, we've got Hand-Dyed Tools. So Nicola Inns from Twink Knits is back. We had her on one of our very first shows, right at the beginning of December. She was brilliant. Everybody loved her, and we sold out within half an hour. So we've got her back with a new design, new yarn, but all hand dyed by her in a back garden. You're going to love her. So if you're watching on the TV, you're fine, stay where you are. But if you're watching us on the web or Facebook, you need to nip over onto the Yarn Lane site, because Yarn Lane is only on there, but you're on the TV, you can stay where you are. So after the break, we've got Cara back. We're going to do knitting looms. I've had so many of you have asked me, when are we doing knitting looms? Well, it's right now, and we've got the yarn to use them. So I see you all in 2 or 3 minutes when we've set it all up. Okay, thank you.